If you've ever been ready for your second Friday within the same week, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, where we officially finish off the week. Hope you all had a wonderful Juneteenth holiday. Remember, I know it feels like a while ago, but we just had a Fed decision on Wednesday and only a couple of hours to react to that with the remaining session time on Wednesday, and then we were closed on Thursday. So today should be interesting. Quick look here, S&P futures ticking higher here, actually going red to green here in the pre-market. So we'll see if that holds out here for today. Hope that you all had a great Juneteenth. It's Friday. We're going to have some fun. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Friday, June 20th, starts right now. Good morning and happy Friday, folks. I'll be honest, I hope that y'all are half as excited as I am, because having that Thursday off was pretty awesome. Went and played golf. It is hot here in Chicago. I mean hot here in Chicago, but it is awesome. And now we're back here for what could be a pretty volatile Friday. As I just said in the opener there might be some more digesting of what we heard from the Fed, as well as the dot plot. We do have some news here today. We'll see what we get here on a Friday, but absolutely looking to have some fun here before we get to mice down, drinks up time. Let me know if you guys have any, guys and gals, excuse me, have any fun weekend plans. I'd love to hear it. Mama Bear, first today, locked in and ready to go. Let's go. Couch Potato. Good morning. Welcome back. Sun-Kissed Yogi. Good morning. Welcome back. Paul, great to see you again. Born to be Free. Hello, you came from Mark Petrino. Good morning, Born. It's great to see you again. Glass half full. Tesla pennant on the 4-hour chart. Good morning. You know what that means? We're going to add Tesla to the list here. I did see Tesla trading up here in the pre-market. Actually made 3 runs at that 329 area. So we'll see what we can figure out here on Tesla. Brian, wow, got here early for once. Bags under my eyes might be worth it. Brian, the early birds always get the worm, my man. Welcome back. It's good to see you here this morning. Yassine, good as always, brother. Welcome back. Hunter, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Big Bees, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Day Trader, I got to be honest. Did you see all of this craziness happening with the Circle IPO and the stable coin stuff? Because Coinbase, Circle, these stocks are running like crazy. And I'll be honest, I did not see this coming. So if you did see it coming and I missed something, let me know what that is. Crazy stuff going on, but I am here for it. Producer, happy Friday. Ryan, morning. Stocks, then golf. Good day. I played golf yesterday. Today, we are going to wash the car right after trading, and it is going to be awesome. Probably go for a joyride there. 3D's locked in. Welcome back, 3D. Happy Friday. Hope you are well. Hopefully you had a good Thursday off. Did you get any Starbucks with the gals? Big Milkshake Trading. I love the name. Good morning. DCL, good morning. Shanlu Trading, good morning. Sean, welcome back. Rivian Millionaire. It's the Benzinga guy. Hey, it's me. Rivian. It's Rivian Millionaire. What's the next trade to make to become a millionaire using Rivian stock? You let us know. Gary, good morning. It's great to see you as always. Born, 2 birdies, 4 pars before I got rained out yesterday. Oh my God, the rain stopping a really good round. You better have a talk with somebody. Ralph, good morning. Richard, good morning. Catherine, welcome back. It's good to see you. Eli, good morning. Quantum, good morning. Dave, good morning. Dave's new here. Everyone be nice to Big Dave. We want Big Dave. Show him back up. I hope you enjoy yourself here today. We like to have fun around these parts here. We're also nice to each other, so keep that in mind. Chop Coop, good morning. Welcome back. Rooster, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader says, no, not exactly. I sold Circle at 89. I'm still long coin. Okay, at least you're still benefiting from coin there. I didn't have a long-term position in coin. I've just been trading it, and now that's hurting me here. But the world is seeing that digital stablecoins are the future, fast settlement and low fees. It does indeed seem like that. So I actually feel bad because if I had been on top of this, maybe I could have pounded the table a little bit more on the Circle IPO and we all could have been banking from it. But we'll set up for the next move. Don't worry about that. Kerching. That's how we start off a Friday. Good morning, Javon. Good morning, Dong. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, and JJ. Good morning. Okay, let's go ahead and get this party started. All Fridays are a party. All Fridays are a party. I've just decided that. Okay, producer, you got to figure this out, man. Get it. There we go. Get it together. Get it together. All right, we're going to start here with the SPY chart. We did come back into the 20, and so far that we've held that. The overnight trading yesterday brought us a little lower from the close of the Wednesday after hours session. Today, however, we've popped pretty much back up to flatline. So on the chart here, it's making it look like we've come into the 20-day and so far held the 20-day. Realistically, we need today's candle to finish before we can make any types of conclusions whether or not we've held this. The reality is here, if we trade up here, especially early in the morning, and then we spend the rest of the afternoon rolling over and pounding the lows, we may actually break this 20-day moving average. And then beneath that, we're going to have this trend line, which remember originates at the all-time highs of 613.23 and goes through the most recent high. That is absolutely going to be a back test level if we get down there. We're sitting right here at 596.53. Remember that 593 to 595 area was significant resistance. Thus, it should be some pretty good support right under where we're at, literally right under where we're at. We'll see if we're able to actually hold this area. Again, in the overnight session, it looks like we did, but let's do it here when the volume shows up. That brings me to my second note for today. It'll be interesting to see how much volume shows up here today. I'll be honest, I actually got randomly paired with a gentleman that works at a kind of a small hedge fund around the North Shore here. And I asked him, one of the first questions I asked him was, hey, so what are you guys doing for Friday? Like, is your office open? And he was kind of like, we're not really sure what to do. A lot of people are on vacation. We just kind of extended this into a 4-day weekend. That makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm wondering how many other market participants did the same thing, at least on the institutional side. So I'm just unsure about what kind of volume we're going to get here. But again, I put that against the backdrop of we just got the dot plot and the Fed decision on Wednesday. So there might be some volatility here today. And it also might be on low volume. So remember, some of these things can get pushed around when the volume is low. Market and Mayhem, good morning. Isn't it triple witching since single stock futures are no longer a thing? So I'm going to let you guys argue over this one because I really, but just be straight up honest with you, I'm not sure. Every time that I do this, I look up the triple witching date and I look up the quad witching date. I looked those up on the calendar, and sure enough, today, Friday, June 20th, is listed as a quad witching date and a triple witching date. What that is going to end up meaning here for the group, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Maybe this is a controversial opinion. I'd love to hear your all's opinion on this. The witching dates, these triple witching, quad witching, whatever it is, has had almost no effect on me as a retail trader. Now, I fully admit that I'm a small fish in a huge pond. But none of this stuff really does anything for me. I pretty much ignore it. I hope that's not blasphemous. Anyway, okay. Breaking EKS here. Senior Iranian official. Iran is ready to discuss limitations on its uranium enrichment. Is there a deal? I don't know why they didn't take the deal the first time. It could have saved a lot of lives and a lot of bombs being dropped if they had just accepted this deal. This actually might be why the S&P futures ticked up a little bit there. We'll see. We'll see on that. I'm not going to make any predictions on that. I think that if the market moves down on this, that's a buying opportunity, personally. But we'll get into that here. I got a little piece of news on that here in a second. So as far as the SPY chart, sorry about the rant here, but good interaction here from the chat. As far as the chart goes here, we basically just pulled back to the 20-day moving average. So far, we've held it. Let's see how we finish here today. I do want to go over to the morning update here, powered by Benzinga Pro. Again, kind of mixed futures here in the morning. We were lower earlier, but we've kind of come back a little bit. Really, the only econ data point today is going to be the Philly Fed manufacturing survey at 8:30, and I don't think that's going to move the market here today. Maybe I'm wrong on that. We'll see when we get it, but I don't think so. We take a look at some of the IPOs. There's nothing on this Friday. We had a holiday yesterday. We got the weekend starting tomorrow. No IPOs here today. We'll start looking at those again next week. I don't really think there's anything of note for today on the conferences as well. However, with the analyst initiations, there are a couple of things that I wanted to mention. First of all, we had been talking recently about restaurants, maybe some consumer discretionary being a possible area where we can make trades. We've actually seen some of these restaurants perform pretty well recently. And Darden here getting an equal weight from Stevens and a $200 price target here this morning. The other thing that happened here is we've got Sarepta. We got a market perform from William Blair, but no price target here. Remember, Sarepta got absolutely smacked recently on, I believe it was someone dying in one of their trials. Just really, really terrible news. They got hit. We're getting a market perform here. It's listed as an initiation and a downgrade in here, which is interesting. Nonetheless here, Sarepta actually up just under 1% here in the pre-market. We'll see if this bounces. I have no position on this. I have no inside information on this. It's just made a huge move recently and might be bouncing here. Mondelez also got an upgrade, so wanted to mention that. CarMax, I guess, had earnings here this morning. Accenture had earnings here this morning, and then obviously Darden Restaurants earnings here this morning. So that's kind of what's going on. Let's take a brief look at the news, and then we'll go from there. U.S. futures were trading lower on Friday after the day break on Thursday. Again, these are up off the lows. Investors stayed on edge due to the continuing Iran-Israel conflict and the possibility of the U.S. intervention, especially after the White House announced that President Trump would decide, quote, within 2 weeks. Here we go with that. Both the NYSE and the NASDAQ were closed on Thursday. We talked about that. The 10-year Treasury is 4.4. The 2-year bonds is at 3.94. There were some insights here. Scott Wren, our friend Scott Wren, the senior global market strategist at Wells Fargo, quote, volatility creates opportunities, end quote, just in case you folks weren't aware of that. Volatility gives us opportunity, especially when the outlook doesn't call for a recession and accompanying contraction in earnings. Quote, when stocks are down because the economy is slowing, buying opportunities often result, particularly for long-term investors whose goal is building wealth over time. Our view is that the U.S. economy and earnings growth are both going to slow down in the coming quarters, but neither the economy nor earnings are actually going to contract. That's going to be the key point there. We'll see if he's right. The U.S. usually leads the rest of the world into an economic slowdown or recession and then leads the world back out into a period of growth, he explained, adding that, quote, we don't think this time will be any different. Hard to time, yes, but different? Likely not, end quote. Wren also suggested investors keep a couple of key points in mind for a summer that could see larger than usual market swings. This is something that I definitely think is going to happen here this summer. I don't know that we're really going to have some huge pullback that's really going to reset asset prices and price to earnings ratios more than we already have. I do anticipate volatility. So if we can time that, that's going to be great. Hopefully we're not on the golf course when that volatility occurs. First, with the S&P 500 index nearing its year-end target, Wren believes now is the time to trim stock portfolios, not liquidate them. Big time shout out to some of our chat members who have been in here saying that. I know Lion's not here today, but Lion has been talking about selling all of the recent pops recently. And frankly, that's worked out pretty well. You sold those pops at the high, and then you got a chance to rebuy at lower prices. So kudos to anyone that's been doing that. I will admit, I've been a little less active here in the summer. I do want to pick that up here. I do want to pick that up pretty substantially. Okay, he favors reducing international equity holdings, U.S. small cap equities, and cyclical equity sectors like industrial and materials. Second, Wren anticipates that once summer policy fireworks begin and both equity and bond prices retreat, opportunities will emerge to deploy cash into markets and sectors with strong long-term growth prospects. His favorites for these additions include U.S. large and mid-cap equities, along with large-cap sectors such as IT, information technology, communication services, energy, financials, and utilities. Meanwhile, in the Fed's Wednesday decision, Jamie Cox, the managing partner of Harris Financial Group, said, quote, the Fed continues to overplay the inflation story and isn't paying attention to the burgeoning demand weakness, end quote. Northlight Asset Management CIO Chris Zaccarelli, on the other hand, explained that the Fed was waiting to see if tariffs increase inflation or the job market starts to falter, and whichever part of their dual mandate is impacted first will likely guide whichever direction they may take. Quote, although the bias is still toward cutting rates, or at least keeping rates unchanged, not raising rates, end quote. And that was one of the key takeaways for me for the Fed decision on Wednesday. We got the dot plot, we got a nice distribution of where the Fed members think they're going to cut and how many cuts in the year and this, that, and the other thing. And the big takeaway from all of that, they all have differing opinions, but the big takeaway from all of that is none of them saw rate hikes. So I think it's safe to assume then that the next move here is going to be a rate cut. It's obviously going to be much more difficult to peg when that cut is going to happen rather than if that cut is going to happen. It is worth noting that if something really terrible happens and we do have to hike rates, the market is going to get shellacked on that. You can bet your bottom dollar. Excuse me. All right, next. We talked about the 2-week time limit that we just got. Trump gives Iran 2 weeks to strike a deal or face U.S. military action. EKS, you just provided us a quote here this morning. I'll be honest with you, just candidly here, I'm entirely unsurprised to see this. Iran is getting absolutely smoked right now. There's just really no other way to play it. Iran is getting absolutely smoked right now, and it is in their best interest to make a deal. They actually just had Joe Lonsdale on CNBC earlier, and he's reiterating what we've been hearing since the start of this. The Iranian people really want this. It is the oppressive regime that they want out. Again, we'll see what happens, and we'll see if the United States gets involved in all of that. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt announced Thursday that the U.S. is leaving the door open to negotiations with Iran. I actually think on Wednesday, later in the day, there was a headline floating around that the Ayatollah wanted to meet at the White House. Trump said, I may do that. I think that was floating around here earlier this week. So it looks like there's still a possibility of this going on. In a direct message quoted by Leavitt, Trump said, quote, based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision on whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks, end quote. These remarks came after a day of mounting tensions as Israel targeted Iranian nuclear sites and Tehran responded with ballistic missile strikes on Israeli cities. Leavitt reiterated that while the administration remains ready to act militarily, its preference is clear. Quote, the president has made it clear he always wants to pursue diplomacy, but believe me, he is unafraid to use strength if necessary, end quote. She added that the U.S. has already engaged in 6 rounds of indirect and direct talks and confirmed a new proposal was sent to Iran. Quote, the deal was both realistic and acceptable, end quote. Leavitt emphasized the gravity of the situation, stating that Iran possesses all of the necessary components to build a nuclear weapon. Quote, let's be very clear, Iran has all it needs to achieve a nuclear weapon, end quote. The White House press secretary warned that such a development would pose, quote, an existential threat not just to Israel, but the United States and the entire world, end quote. She affirmed President Trump has been clear for decades that Iran must never obtain a nuclear weapon, calling it a red line for U.S. national security. Trump's approach of peace through strength, Leavitt said, is unchanged and, quote, Iran can and should make a deal or they will face grave consequences. Now, the market, highly sensitive to the Middle East development, swiftly reacted to the White House announcement on Thursday. West Texas Intermediate crude futures, which had surged to $76.50 earlier in the day, reversed sharply after the briefing, plunging towards $73 per barrel. Again, just to reiterate here, I think that the price of oil is important. This is one of the things that's actually going to have an impact on inflation, and the lower oil goes, the more deflationary that is. Traders took the president's 14-day decision window with openness and openness to talks and a sign that a direct U.S.-Iran conflict was less likely in the near term. Leavitt emphasized that the president is monitoring energy markets closely. Quote, he's paying attention and monitoring oil prices, end quote. Foreign exchange market mirrored softening of geopolitical risk. The U.S. dollar index, which had been gaining throughout the day, slipped by 0.3 after the White House briefing. Okay. Let's see what is next year. Okay, it wouldn't be a morning without talking about Tesla a little bit. We actually just talked about Tesla stock doing pretty well here today. Yeah, it's up 5 points here in the pre-market. Elon Musk's Tesla to expand the Model Y lineup with a 6-seater version. Actually, one of my buddies whom I'm going to wash cars with today has a Tesla Model Y, and I'm going to ask him about this. I know him and his family have a lot of experience with the Model Y. I'm going to ask him what they think, try to get some opinions from folks that are actually familiar with these cars. The much rumored about 6-seater Model Y made an appearance in the firmware. Electrek, reported on Thursday, citing in a post on X by Tesla leaker Green. That's an easy sentence to say, not. The report also said that the model does not appear to be a China only, as some speculations have said. Tesla currently offers a 6-seater variant in the Model X while offering a 5 and 7-seater versions of the car. The tweet's actually here if you want it. I'll go ahead and throw the story here in the chat. If anyone wants it, we'll see. The news comes as Tesla is focused on the company's highly anticipated robo-taxi launch in Austin, Texas. CEO Elon Musk said that the robo-taxi operation will initially include over 10 Model Y robo-taxis. Tesla is also planning to shut down its Texas Gigafactory over the 4th of July weekend to carry out some maintenance and repair work on the facility's production line. What could prove to be a major boost for the economy is the NHTSA announcing an update to the regulations which aim to provide exemptions to autonomous vehicles in the U.S. from safety standards. Elsewhere, Musk also shared that the company is working closely with billionaire AI venture XAI to develop autonomous driving tech as well as humanoid robots. So that's what's going on here. I don't think Tesla's necessarily responding to this, but this was news that we got over the last couple of days here. Next, Tesla's robo-taxi launch could be key to the $310 price target. Word of note, we're trading at $327 here this morning, so take that for what you will. This price target comes from Gary Black, whom we've quoted here quite a bit. Future Fund LLC's managing director Gary Black sets a $310 price target for Tesla. The investor gave a breakdown of the positive and negative factors that could affect Elon Musk's EV giant stock performance in a post on social media. As far as positive catalysts go, the investor shared that the Trump administration's decision to, quote, streamline federal processes will allow Tesla to, quote, secure general unsupervised autonomy license nationally, end quote. Other factors include an affordable model in the company's lineup, as well as possible FSD licensing opportunities. Black also outlined the Cybercab as well as the Optimus line of humanoid robots, both of which are slated for 2026 production date. However, he did highlight some negative factors as well, like the government axing the $7,500 EV credit, as well as a failure to update the lineup and reliance on discounts. Quote, Trump admin restricts state efforts to control carbon emissions, which could significantly reduce Tesla's ZEV sales. The investor also highlighted Tesla's declining EPS as a delivery estimate for 2025 as a negative factor. Quote, Tesla's 2025 PE of 170x is too high relative to the full year 25-30 EPS growth of plus 25% CGR. Average forward PE past 3 years is 80x. So it looks like Gary Black wants this coming in cut in half about. The investors' thoughts come as Tesla, which is reportedly shutting down its Texas Gigafactory over the 4th of July weekend, is preparing for its robo-taxi launch. The company was also officially named AV operator in Austin. We talked a little bit about the fees getting cut. Elsewhere, recent data shows that Tesla vehicles cost 1/7 that of robo-taxi rival Alphabet, the Waymo cars, and the EV giant has collected data from over 3 billion miles. So again, going back to what I said at the beginning of this, when we're talking about this, Tesla can scale this operation much, much faster than Waymo can. We're seeing that here in a bunch of different data that they have. Okay, let's see. What time is it? We still got a couple of minutes. That's awesome. Let's go to, here. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier when we were talking about the stable coin. I was asking Day Trader about that. I definitely felt offsides on this whole thing. I didn't really think the Circle IPO was going to do what it was, and I did not have the foresight enough to really kind of load Coinbase as I have in the past. In any case, as Trump says, get it to my desk for the genius stablecoin bill, analysts warn of disruption to payment giants Visa and MasterCard. So really the question is how much negative effect is this going to have on ticker MA and ticker V? Analysts are pointing out that the Genius Act, which passed the Senate on Tuesday, could increase competition for large payment networks like Visa and MasterCard. I guess we'd want to see what also happens to PayPal and Block to a lesser extent. The act establishes a regulatory framework for dollar-pegged cryptocurrencies, also known as stablecoins in the U.S. According to Mark Hines, the investment director and founder at Herrick Lake Investments, internet companies like Stripe and Amazon could quickly adopt stablecoin-based payments and bypass networks like Visa and MasterCard with lower fees. In an earlier post, Hines added that, Dear Visa and MasterCard, stablecoin is coming for you, and he linked Coinbase there. You will both grow slower. You may be forced to reduce fees. You're both great businesses, but change is coming. Sincerely, disruption. Trump, in a True Social post, called for the quick passage of the Genius Act. Quote, the House will hopefully move lightning fast and pass a clean Genius Act. Get it to my desk ASAP. No delays, no add-ons. Meanwhile, Rebound Capital on Substack had a contrarian view and said that it was, quote, there's still a long way to go before stable coins start hurting the bottom line, end quote. Tether and U.S. coin are common in cryptocurrencies that are pegged to the U.S. dollar. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the Genius Act might help stablecoins grow into a $3.7 trillion market by the end of the decade. Former Bank of England economist Dan Davies warned that stablecoins could pose a, quote, systemic risk to U.S. banks and the dollar. He compared stablecoin issuers to banks that lacked oversight and safeguards of traditional institutions. According to the data highlighted by Fiscal.ai, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express alone process about $28 trillion in combined volume each year. This has consistently grown since 2012, with Visa having the highest share of payment processing. As this bill heads to the House in the U.S., debate is expected on several key issues. Should non-bank fintechs be allowed to issue stablecoins? What counts as a valid reserve asset? This one's going to be important to us, especially with more people adopting Bitcoin for the Treasury, I believe. Who will enforce compliance? The Fed, the OCC, or a new digital asset authority? So some questions to answer here. Curious how you folks all feel about the stablecoin, let's call it a stablecoin revolution, and what this may lead to for trades going forward. Okay, does it for the news, at least for now. We'll break some more news as it comes across, but now it's Friday, so it's time to talk to Mark. We're going to talk some charts and some potential trades. Let's go ahead and bring on Mark Petrino. Mark, happy Friday. First, let me ask you a question. How was your Thursday, and do you like these midweek days off?
Well, I mean, I would prefer to have it on a Monday or a Friday, but I don't think anyone's going to listen to my opinion. So what do you think? What did you do?
I'll tell you, I golfed. I mean, I was surprised you even had to ask me that. I golfed.
Yeah.
No, it was great. I had a great time. I'll be honest, the thing for me is that it was odd that we had a Fed decision on Wednesday and then a day off. Now, we'll see if that makes any difference. We'll see if that makes any difference here today. But the other thing is, any days off in the summer, I put in the positive column. Honestly, because if I get a chance to golf and I get a chance to relax, everybody's going to be happier for that.
I assume you watched the U.S. Open, man. That course is unbelievable.
I can't even imagine playing there.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine.
The markets
what do you got for us?
Well, I'll tell you, man, I am really surprised still how strong the markets are. But they say the market climbs a wall of worry. And one of the reasons why I say that, first I'm going to do here is bring up the XLK ETF, which is the...
You want to share your charts? I'll go ahead and share them with the group.
I always forget to do that. I guess I get too excited. All right.
All right.
Okay, cool. So anyway, one of the things that's really kind of just stuck out to me is how the technology sector hit all-time highs this week. So, let's just let that sink in for a second. All-time highs. Yet that happens despite the action in Apple. So Apple is 1/8 of this sector. And for it to be showing that much strength when you have one of the top three companies in it, 1/8 of it going down, really kind of, I think, is something worth noticing. So it just shows you that there's a lot of strength in the rest of the technology sector. And I heard you guys talking about Visa, and I was actually looking at Visa for a potential trade reversal here, or a reversal idea. Now, first thing I will do is point to this, right? So we had this support level here, and we got down to it, and I would say that we're oversold. Now, one of the things about markets is that if a stock goes through a price level rapidly going in one direction, and then it reverses and gets back to it in the opposite direction, there's a good chance that it moves back through it quickly. Like, everyone's heard the expression gaps tend to refill. And this was one of my stocks of the day, or chart of the day, or stock of the day, whatever you want to call it. But I just think this is really interesting, right? People talk about gaps refilling. Well, one of the main reasons why we get resistance in a market is because you have remorseful buyers trying to sell on the way back up, right? Someone buys something at 15 and then it goes to 13 and they say, I made a mistake. If this thing goes back and I can get out at break even, I'm going to. So in a situation like this where you gap, you close there, you open down there, there's no trading in there. So if there's no trading, there's no one who bought who's going to be trying to sell on the way back up. So when we went after some consolidation, we return and we get to those levels, the buyers have a hard time finding people. There's not that usual group of remorseful buyers trying to sell. So they have to push the price higher. So you gap through levels one way and you return to those levels going in the opposite direction. Then there's a chance you either gap or you move really quickly back through them. Here's two examples on the upside. So one of the main reasons why you get support is you have remorseful sellers trying to buy stuff back. Someone sells something at 15 and it goes to 18 and they say, if this gets back to 15, I'm going to try to buy my shares back. When you move really quickly like this, I mean, technically it's not a gap, but it's the same principle. You move really quickly in one direction. Then when you reverse, there's a good chance when you get back to those same levels in the opposite direction, you can move quickly back through them. So that's what happened here. That's what happened here. That's what happened here. So when I look at a chart, if we go to Visa, we're getting close to a situation where we might have a rapid reversal. Now, if something comes into a support level like this and it reverses, there's a good chance that the reversal is going to look something like that. But if something comes into a support level and reverses after going like that, there's a good chance it goes like that. And that's because of what I just mentioned, right? We made this really fast move lower. And we just blew through the levels really quickly. So that means there wasn't enough time, or a lot of time, for there to be any kind of significant buy interest, or for people who are going to be trying to sell back on, or sell it on the way back up, probably until we get up to around here. So this could be a pretty decent reversal trade here if it kicks in. So if you're considering like trading a breakout or trading a reversal, it's good to see how the stock got there, because if it got there really fast and it reverses, then there's a chance it reverses really fast. All else being equal, you want something that is going to reverse faster than something that's going to reverse slower. But I just thought that was a good lesson, because I hear a lot of people talk about gaps, and there's just some, I guess, misinformation or misunderstanding about it. But
I do have a quick question about this move right here. When you see a fast move down to a very well-defined support area, as you have outlined here on the chart, when you're trying to play the bounce back, is it better to try right at the level, or is it better to try and wait for it to confirm that it's holding that level, maybe miss a few points on?
Yeah, we wait for the reversal
Okay, so
because that's going to stack the odds in our favor.
this,
Just because something goes down, just because something's oversold and at support doesn't mean the support can't break and it can't keep going down.
perfect.
So there's another old Wall Street expression: the only people that can catch the tops and bottoms are liars. So you wait for it to reverse a little. Now this is oversold, and this actually brings up a good point. Someone might say, "Well, Mark, you're saying it's oversold, and on the bottom of the chart here you have this RSI indicator, but the RSI indicator has not gone below the lower threshold of 30. So if you look at this, you don't think it's oversold. But this is just a nuance of the way this is calculated. The RSI default setting is 14, which means it calculates where we are now to where we are 14 time periods ago. So we would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so down here. So
Mhm.
the RSI is thinking we went like that. It's not accounting for this last couple days here. If I was to change the default setting to say 5 when this sell off started, it's going to show to be oversold, right? So it's just a nuance of the indicators. A lot of newer traders, they have, 5, 6, 7, 8 different indicators on their charts. And that's just a good way to get confused. Most of these technical indicators are different ways of measuring the same thing, and that's momentum. Everyone's always trying to build a better mousetrap. People have been trying to do it since the markets have started. And as far as I know, no one's yet to figure it out.
And Mark, I'd actually like to steel man that a little bit more. I've been playing around with RSI since I first delved into trading back in 2014. Okay, so RSI, this is arguably one of the first indicators that I learned about and used. And I have had the most success just using some of the let's call them stock settings, right? Like that 14-day RSI that you just changed, just the default setting for RSI. I've had way more success using the default settings than any specific change setting that I had done because I read it on some blog or saw some YouTuber talking about it. To me, that just kind of goes to the trying to invent a better mousetrap. This was decided like this for a reason back in the day anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, the guy Wells Wilder who invented this, I guess that's just he thought that was a good default setting. And you don't really need to change the settings if you understand the nuances of the indicator, right? So if you are looking at the RSI with the default setting and you just understand how this is calculated, you can get a sense that this is oversold, even though it hasn't technically reached the lower threshold here. So what I tell people is instead of having all these indicators, just pick like 2 or 3 of them and just get really comfortable with them and learn the nuances. And then stuff like this won't be confusing. It'll be obvious as to why it's happening. I use RSI pretty much, and I use the Bollinger Bands when I'm measuring momentum.
Yeah, okay, so that's really good stuff. Average options here. You summed it up very, very well here in your question. My default is 14. So is mine. And my broker and pro and pretty much any other tool that I use. I never change it. Should I? This is kind of what I was asking there. I'll be honest, in my experience, I really have not found any benefit from changing this. Now, Day Trader brings up another good point here. I've heard, and I've thought about this too. I've heard the same thing. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard the same thing. We'll ask Mark here. I've heard the reason it works best on the default settings is because most people use the default settings and react to that setting. That is to say, most people, when looking at RSI, are probably using a 14 bar or 14-day look back time. And as a result, they're probably reacting to the indicator more so than customized ones. That scans. That makes sense for me. Does that make sense to you, Mark? Or are we
Yeah,
barking up the
yeah,
wrong tree?
that makes
Okay.
sense. That makes sense. I mean, RSI, as far as I know, is by far the most popular momentum indicator.
Yeah.
So it's just something to think about. I mean, maybe on some stocks, maybe on the particular stocks that someone is trading, if they spend a little bit of time messing around with the default setting, they might come up with something that gives better signals. But like you said, most of the time, the default settings I think are more than adequate. So like
Agree.
here we got that top. But I think the an important thing to think about is what I just talked about is some people have too much stuff on their screen and it gets really confusing. They might have 6 or 7 different indicators and Bollinger Bands and this, that, and the other thing. This is my chart. I mean, it's just as plain and as simple as it can be. So
yeah, I'm with you there. There's an old, and maybe it's not old because it grew up on FinTwit, which is what I'm familiar with, but there is a meme that has gone around since I started this that has maybe every single indicator that a broker offers overlaid on a chart, and you can't even see the price. And the joke is, yeah, you see the next move is in there somewhere, but of course nobody can make sense of it. I'm with you, Mark. The keep it simple method, right? The KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. The less indicators I have on the chart, the better I seem to do. I use different indicators for different situations. You guys see it all the time when we're trading short-term intraday trades. VWAP and a couple of EMAs is about all I use. When we're talking about longer term swing trading, I use a host of simple moving averages, as well as Fibonacci's, regressions, and trend lines that we draw on there. So, Mark, I'm with you on that 100%.
yeah, people have to remember, right? A lot of people think that trading is like this big chess game, and it's always follows the same rules, right? Like the bishop always moves the same way, or the knight always moves the same way. But it's really not. Trading is more like poker because there's emotions, right? There's people on the other side of the table. Every stock you've ever bought, someone sold it to you, and vice versa. People are on both sides of the table, and people have emotions. So trading is not finance; it's really psychology. That's the prism that you have to look at it through. I think if you want to be successful, a lot of these big funds that are driven by artificial intelligence that hire all these data scientists from NASA and whatever, their performance is really nothing to write home about. I've yet to seen anything that really I've yet to see returns on any of these funds where it's like, wow, these guys really know what the hell they're doing. And if you talk about artificial intelligence, well, there's a buyer and a seller on every trade.
Yep.
It's one AI selling to another one. I mean, they can't both be right. But this popped up for me as a potential trade on the short side, meaning buying puts. And I just did a simple screener in BZ Pro to look for stuff that's overbought, and it screens by the RSI, right? Now, a lot of times when something gets to resistance, it sells off. And you don't need to be a former hedge fund trader, market guru to see this. It's pretty darn clear. This is Valero energy. So we get up here in October and people buy at the peak and we get lower. And a lot of the people who bought up here are like, oh, this sucks, right? If I can get out at break even, I'm going to. So when it returns to that level a month later, you have a lot of remorseful buyers placing sellers. There were so many that it made the level become resistance again. And then the same thing happened here. Now, the next question is, well, why do things sell off after they get to resistance? Well, resistance is this large group of people that want to sell. It could be institutions, retail, traders, investors. You don't know, but you don't need to know. Eventually, some of the traders start to get worried that they're going to get undercut. They know that the buyers are going to go to whoever is willing to sell at the lowest price. So someone might have been at, say, 144, and they're like, all right, well, I'm willing to lose a point to get my trade done, and they're going to drop down to 143. Someone else might see that and be like, I don't want to get undercut. I'm going to go to 142. And you get the snowball effect. So now we have a situation where we've gotten back to the resistance, and I think there's a good chance we are going to go lower. And this is the RSI with the default setting of 14. And notice how it got through the upper threshold, which means that it's overbought. And now that it's reversing, it could be the first indication that we're setting up for a move lower. And as you can see, the action on Wednesday was fairly bearish, got up to there and ended up closing there. This morning, there's kind of no coming back. So I think that this is a good candidate for a potential reversal here. And I think it's actually already started.
Okay, good. And then we just talked about maybe confirming either a bottom or a reversal. Looks like you got that here. A couple of quick questions here, Mark, before we move to the next chart. Josh here is asking, so if someone says they're selling a put, they're shorting. No, it's the opposite, right? Think about that. That's a bullish bet, right? If you're selling a put, then you're saying it's probably not going to go there. You would like to sell that and never have to pay that back, right? You want to collect the premium from selling the put, never have to pay it back. The thought there is that that is going to go higher and that put is going to expire worthless. If they were buying a put, that would be different. And this is one of the things that can be tricky about options. especially for newer options traders. Drew, can we take a look at CRISPR, ticker CRSP? Yes, added to the list. GRRR. We'll do that as well. Mark, do you have any other, you want to take a look at CRISPR? We can do that if you want. That'd be great.
But I would just like to mention, though, on the selling the puts, there is something called a wheel strategy that people use, and it's very simple. Basically, let's just say that you say to yourself, or you make up your mind, if Valero gets to 120, I'm going to buy it. No matter what happens, if Valero gets to 120, I'm going to buy it. So you could sell the put and collect your little bit of a premium. It'll only be a little bit. But when you get down there, you're going to get assigned the shares, which you would have bought in anyway. So you got a little bit of the premium. You kept the premium and you bought the shares, which you would have bought anyway. So selling out of the money puts is something that we call it's part of a whale strategy, which is pretty common. Just something to think about there. But yeah,
that's a really good mention. That's a really good mention. So right there, you can see, Josh, how complicated it can get, and it really depends on what your entire thesis is.
And then the other side of the wheel strategy is selling a covered call. Say you own the stock, like say you own CRISPR, and you tell yourself, if CRISPR gets to 53, I'm going to sell it. Well, you could sell the covered call with the 53 strike and keep the premium. And then if the stock gets there, you'll have to sell it anyway to cover your contract. So,
and actually, I'm glad that you mentioned that, Mark, because these are trades that Anne Marie has actually been setting up recently. We don't have her today, but we can ask her about this on Tuesday. She's been very, very good at that. I think you're exactly right. I mean, if you're long here and you think this is going to go and you were going to sell there anyway, sell the call. If it doesn't go there, you collect all that premium. You don't have to pay it back. If it does, your stock's called away and your trade's done.
Exactly. So looking at this CRISPR here, just a couple things, right? This is what we just talked about with Lucid. We have our rapid move up in one direction, and then we reverse. We get up to around where these peaks are here, and then we get the rapid move back lower through the levels. Because remember, one of the main reasons why we get support is remorseful sellers trying to buy things back. When you rip through levels really quickly, or you gap right through them, if you gap, there's no trading. If you move quickly, there's not a lot of trading concentrated around a particular level. Reverse, you get back in here. Sellers are like, where the heck are all the buyers? And they got to really knock the stock down. And you can see the mirror image down here. And this is a gap here that refills. One of the main reasons why we get resistance is remorseful buyers trying to sell on the way up. When you move really quickly or you gap through levels, you don't have a lot of time for there to be this big vested interest. So you return and buyers come in, they have a hard time finding sellers, so they got to really jack it up. And then you could even bring it over to here where we get the quick move back down through there. So with this particular stock, given the fact that the market looks pretty strong and we're getting to levels where we move through quickly, I think that if I was long this, and I would definitely, well, I don't want to say definitely, but I could see being long here because you just broke this resistance. So if you buy here, I think my target for a profit would be up here. On the downside, you got to just tell yourself, all right, I think it's going higher, but if it gets back below this support here, I'm wrong, and I just got to move on to something else. So I'm going to take my small loss and just get out of it. Of course, then if it starts to go your way, you start to think about your trailing stop. Maybe if it reverses by this percent or X percent, I'm going to sell, or if it cuts this trend line, maybe that's where I sell. So when you think about getting into a trade, it's easy to buy, right? You buy a trade, it's like you got this new friend, or you buy a stock, it's like you got this new friend, you've got something to watch. Buying is easy. Selling is hard, because if you're selling, you're probably taking a loss where it's like, I don't want to take loss. That's, that's like people are not wired that way. So someone doesn't want to take a loss and they're like, well, I'll hold on to this and hope it comes back. And hope is not a strategy. And the thing goes a lot farther and people get crushed. But anyway, you got your initial thing, you got your sell for your profit, and then you think about your trailing strategy on the way up, your trailing stop strategy. So 3 different things to consider for exits, in my opinion. Your initial stop out, if it starts to go away, your trailing stop out, and then if it gets to your target for a profit.
Okay. I got another chart here if you're ready for it.
Yeah.
SoFi, SOFI.
Now, this is another stock that looks quite bullish to me. And let's take a look at something here. So this is our classic traditional. I actually wrote about this. This was the stock of the day one day. But you got your ascending triangle pattern here, right? Now, in my opinion, it's not important to know the names of the patterns. I think too many people get caught up in saying, oh, it's this pattern or it's that pattern. What's important is to understand the price action that's going on that manifests itself on a chart in a certain way. And now, if we look at the ascending triangle, which is, these are pretty reliable patterns. Of course, they're not perfect, but they're pretty reliable, and it's bullish. The sellers kind of dug a line in the sand up here around 14. The sellers are just like, hey, if the buyers come to me, I'll sell. If not, I don't really care. In a bullish market or in a bull market, the buyers go to the sellers. So the buyers over the same period of time start getting more aggressive. They're coming into the market at higher prices. And you can tell that because we get a series of what we call higher lows. Markets go in peaks and valleys. And when the valley forms at a higher level than the prior valley, we call that a higher low. So this valley was higher than this one. So you get complacent sellers, aggressive buyers. That's what the ascending triangle pattern is an illustration of. And now any market that you're in, if you get aggressive buyers and complacent sellers, you set the stage for a move higher. Now, the next thing we have to look at here is some people ask me, like, how do you know if a breakout is real or if it just becomes like a false breakout? Well, when you see that this level that had been a resistance level turns into a support level, that could set the stage for the next move up. You get seller's remorse here, people who sold who say, now that the shares are higher, I made a mistake. I'm going to try to buy them back. So remorseful sellers placing buy orders can make what was resistance become support. So that kind of validated the breakout. And you can see we're moving higher. And this morning, it looks like we're even gapping up a little bit here in the pre-market. And then just going back to what we talked about before, you make a rapid move higher going one way. So you gap through levels one way, you reverse, and you gap back through those same levels going in the opposite direction. And you spend some time consolidating, and then you get the same thing again. You rip higher, reverse, and you rip lower. So that would be my take on SoFi. And I think an obvious target would, like we talked about, there tends to be resistance at former resistance levels, like you can see down here. So there's probably people who bought right up here back in February who've been watching this thing and holding on to a losing position ever since, who are telling themselves, if this gets back up to where I can get out at break even, finally, I'm going to. So if you have enough remorseful buyers from here placing sell orders here, it'll become resistance again. And then at that point, maybe you look for a reversal.
Okay. Really good stuff there on SoFi. Ryan says, thank you. I'm adding more today, he says. Okay. There you go. Mark, I have another one here unless you've got one that you want to cover.
No, I'm open for questions.
Let's do coin. We just talked about some news here with these stable coin issuances. We just took a look at, I think it was Visa that you had up there, which is on the other side of this. Let's take a look at coin. What does the chart say on COIN?
Now, here is where I might be looking for a reversal. And I can see we're kind of gapping up a little bit in the pre-market.
309 and a quarter here this morning.
Yeah. So, we're around these former peaks here. What's that, 343? Yeah, I mean, so we're at a level that had been resistance before. I mean, we're a little bit above it, but now this is a situation where we can see that a stock is overbought, and this is our RSI with the 14 default setting. Again, if this is an example of that, it's a very effective setting, and so we're overbought. We're at resistance. Now, I would be anticipating a reversal, but I know that a lot of times a market that's overbought and at resistance can keep going up. So this would be just like I talked about on Valero. When the RSI line turns lower, that's your trigger. Think about it like this. You're at a horse race and the starter is like on your mark, get set, but they haven't said go yet. The setup, the on your mark, get set, is the being overbought while at resistance. The go would be what we call a trigger. If the RSI reverses and gets back down below the upper threshold here, the 70 level, that would be the trigger to get in. And at that point, I would look at various puts and I would just try to figure out which one would be the best one to get into. And then my target would be right down here, like a former, former resistance level. There's going to be people who sold here who are going to be trying to buy their shares back if it drops back here. So if there's enough of these remorseful sellers placing buy orders, then there's a good chance that support forms at this level. So that would be my target. Again, you got to have your target for a profit. My target for an initial stop out would be, all right, it reverses, but then it closes back up above this resistance level.
Okay. So, and again, the key here is that you're actually waiting for this to confirm as opposed to just jumping out there in front of the momentum.
Yeah. You wait for the train to kind of leave the station, so to speak, so you know which way it's going. Right. And you just got to accept the fact that people will never, the best traders in history of mankind don't always get the top and don't always get the bottom.
Yeah.
A lot of trading is about understanding that it's imperfect. It's like golf, right? People say golf is a game of misses. And
it sure is for me. I'll tell you that much.
Well, sometimes you play golf, sometimes you'll go play, and I'm sure you've experienced this, and you get paired up with someone you don't know or whatever. And then, you're at the 19th hole going over the scores, and it's like that guy records a really good score. And it's like, I mean, he had some really good shots, but then you realize he didn't have any blowups. He didn't hit the ball into the woods. He didn't hit the ball into the pond. Even the bad shots, that maybe the drive was cut a little or whatever, but it still landed in the fairway. Your putts got close. They didn't blow by the hole by 6 feet. And then you realize it's not so much about having a lot of great shots. It's about not having the blowups, not having the bad ones. And that's very analogous to trading because
yes, it is.
The greatest traders in the world don't take big losses. Like when I worked at SAC, Steve Cohen's firm years ago, he said that his best traders made money on 2/3 of their trades. Now, of course, they're throwing around hundreds of millions of dollars, so it's a little bit different than being a retail trader. But if you're making money on 2/3 of your trades, well, that means on 1/3, you're breaking even or taking a loss. The difference between those guys and your unsuccessful traders is they don't take big losses. They have the emotional wherewithal to say, this is a loss, it sucks, but I got to get out of this before it gets really big while it's still manageable.
And that ties back into one of the lessons that you opened with here about hope not being a strategy, right? Like you've got to be very mechanical to be able to make those losses small before they very quickly accelerate into much bigger losses.
Yeah, a lot of people think that trading should be like really this exciting and fun thing. And I mean, of course, it's exciting and fun to make money. But if you have your rules in place, which you should if you're trading, that's really going to help you manage your emotions. I mean, people are still going to feel emotions because we're people. But one of the reasons why we have rules, like for me to buy something, the RSI has to be here, the moving average has to be here. You come up with a set of parameters, which is really what a trading model is. But it makes you not have to guess. When people guess, then they tend to lose money. And also, if you have your rules, a big part of your rules need to be your exit strategy. So the idea is that you're not going to find something that always works or be the person who builds the better mousetrap, but the successful traders are the ones who can manage their emotions. And if you have rules, it will help you do that.
Yeah, no question. Brandy here saying, still the hardest part is keeping the losses small. I concur with this. It's a never ending battle. Like you don't get to a spot where you're like, okay, I'm successful. I follow all of my rules now. Success in this is least and rent is due every day on that. Okay, you got anything else? We got 2 minutes left. There was a question here. I don't know if you're going to be able to do much with it because it was a recent IPO. We don't have a ton of data, but let's take a look here at CRCL Circle, which is also attached to this Visa and coin move. If there's not enough here, I would say pick another chart, but this was asked about.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when a stock doesn't have a trading history. It's kind of hard. I mean, maybe if it drops back to around there, or if it drops back to around here, I should say, there might be some support.
And this is the other thing, is that it's not fun, right? Like I look at this chart, Mark, and I think the exact same thing you do. Okay, the next trade here is to wait for this to come back in. That's not what anyone wants to hear when the stock is gapping up every day, right? They want to know how they can play this now. The last thing they want to do is have to wait, but that's the reality in trading. In fact, I would say 98% of what we do here as traders should be waiting for a good setup as opposed to trying to chase something or executing.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. The bankers who priced this thing at the IPO thought it was worth $69 a share, and now it's trading at 233. So, and those bankers get paid a lot of money too. So I just take that for
You could say the same thing about CoreWeave.
Yeah, exactly. What's the symbol on that one again?
CRWV. And actually, we should have more price data for that one. Here you go. Look at this thing. What are you supposed to do with this?
You know,
hopefully you're selling into this, because that's the move.
I'll tell you, Ryan, I've been doing this for 30 years, and over the last couple months since the April bottom there, well, first of all, the move 2 months after the bottom was up 23% of the S&P. That's the biggest gain in history of the S&P going back to the 1870s. And I told myself, I was like, wow, I mean, I'm just seeing stocks break out left and right, and it's crazy. If Apple was in gear, the market would be at all-time highs. Yeah. And I mean, it's like I said, I don't recall seeing stuff like this, except like maybe in the internet bubble, which was, I'm not saying that this is a bubble. I mean, of course, it could become one potentially, just like any market. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that looks like this out there. A lot of breaking out stuff, a lot of those ascending triangle patterns everywhere.
No question. All right, Mark, thanks again for making some time here on a Friday. Let me ask you real quick on your way out here. Do you think today's going to kind of be a light day, with yesterday being a holiday, it being a summer Friday?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people, now that we're getting into the summer, a lot of people I would imagine are on vacation, or going to take the day off. But if we just look at the S&P, we're back to this crucial 595 level. So as long as we can hold above that, I think things are going to be okay. If we break 595, then, we could get a fairly big sell-off. I mean, I don't want nothing huge. Like it's not like the market's going to crash, but this is just kind of normal action. We get ahead of itself, the resistance turns into support. And, but yeah, I mean, assuming nothing crazy in the world happens, I would think that today's going to be a slow day.
Okay. We'll see how it shakes out. Mark, thanks so much for your time.
All right, everyone.
Really appreciate it. If you golf today, go low. Enjoy.
All right. See you
that
later.
That is Mark Petrino. Really good stuff from him on a regular basis. Thanks for participating here this morning. Really good stuff. Mark's departure leaves room for 13. Let's go ahead and bring him on and see how he's doing. 13, happy Friday. It's like the second Friday of the week, as I joked earlier. Did you have a good day off?
Yeah, actually, it was quite eventful. Went fishing with my son, and took both my boys to see a movie, and
nice.
The pool. Just had a good day.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to have another good day here, and then we're going to roll into the weekend. We can start pretty much with whatever you want. We've covered quite a bit here already this morning, but you want to just go to the movers like we normally do?
Yeah, the movers. The list isn't really that great today, in my opinion. I mean, we have 100% runner, and then the rest are kind of just penny stocks, and some movers we've traded before, but they're just not really having a huge day like we've seen in the past, where they go on these multiple 100% run, that they've done this week. So nothing like that today. Did go over a few. If you want, we can start with Wheeler. Even though that has no news.
who needs movers when you have something like LEU? Good morning, Jay. It's great to see you here again. Another gap up day here for LEU, excuse me, as it's gapping up almost another 5%. This stock just unbelievable. Good stuff to all of you that hit this here. But okay, let's get back to the movers. We'll start with Wheeler. I think that this is funny. Couple of things here. I'm actually going to take a sec here. I'm going to do a victory lap for somebody else. First of all, we just got a question on Wednesday about Wheeler to Tim Melvin. Who was that? Was that Thinking About It? Was that somebody else? Somebody asked about Wheeler. I don't remember exactly what Tim said, but I just find it hilarious that a stock that closed at about 350 on Wednesday actually printed above 9 here today. So just good stuff. We're going to attribute this to Tim Melvin being awesome. But the more important one is this one. Oscar, this was a straight up recommendation not long ago. I think this was in a 14 handle. I think Tim was talking about it when it was right in here. Actually, it might have actually gone. No, this was after Liberation Day, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact day, but I believe this was in a 13 or a 14 handle. Oscar here printing 2170 in the pre-market, up by another 15.6% here today, and on no news. So Tim Melvin continues to get it done here. I don't know if we're going to cover this one in the movers list, so I just kind of wanted to start with it. Really good stuff here from Oscar. Thank you, producer there, for the link in the chat about Oscar. Let's talk about Wheeler here first, though. No news, as you said. Shares are trading higher on no news. This is low float, high short interest. What do you got here?
Yeah, it seems like on Friday they did get some decent volume. So the two things that I'd be looking at here as to why it's moving, if we need a reason, is relative volume and far from moving average. If you'll look at a daily chart, you can see we're really, really far away from the 200, over 100% away. I got the wrong ticker on here. Over 100% away on the 50, and I think like 20 or 30% away from the 200. I'm sorry, the 20-day SMA. So pretty far away from all of their moving averages. This thing has just been reverse split into oblivion. It's got.
I can't even get a daily chart on it because that's so crazy, dude. That is so effing crazy.
So and this is going to be, I would expect this from Wheeler. Every time we get some kind of move like this, it's going to just rise up, and then it'll probably end up just sinking down later on in the day. So just want to point this out. We are getting a move over the 50-day SMA. I don't know if it's going to hold. I wouldn't bet anything on it, but this is getting some attention here today. It is low float. It does have some pretty decent short interest. So if there are trades setting up, we can take this and make some money off of this. Right now, let me just look at the broker chart here. Oops, that's Whirlpool. Not the right one I wanted. There we go. So we are, hey, what do you know? We are beneath the VWAP, which is, kind of par for the course of this thing. Did pop up to 950 this morning. Lost VWAP. Been trying to get above it two times today. Once at 7 o'clock. The other just past, just before 8:30. I mean, looks like we're trying to come up and try and test the VWAP again. So if we do recapture this VWAP, we should see some better price action. We do have some levels we can draw upon. It looks like 830 could be one after we recapture the VWAP, maybe even $8 even. But let's see if we can get anything out of the open here. It is trading between the VWAP and the 65 EMA, which has been giving it support so far this morning. So we'll see what ends up happening out of the open here. If it does recapture VWAP, I think we could get some trades out of this.
Okay, real good stuff here. Taking a look at the split calendar here, we can see that this has actually had two reverse splits this year already, a 1 for 4 in January, and more recently a 1 for 7 at the end of May. Thinking about it here, saying, yes, I did mention Wheeler. Even with this bounce, Tim's buddies Stillwell Investments got smoked since they've been holding for years. So I tried to turn it into a victory lap. Thinking about it reminded me that there is no victory lap here. The initial holder here has been getting smoked on it. Okay, nonetheless, really good breakdown there. 13 on a potential trade here today for Wheeler. Shanlu, you want to take a look at IBIT? Yes, I will add that to the list. We can absolutely take a look at that. Here, day trader giving us some more levels. Wheeler, ticker WHLR, 742.
Already passed that.
Right. The level of interest means it could also be a support.
Gotcha.
The stock did bounce a little bit right down here. 742, 787, which looks like one of these highs here, and 868.
Actually, 787 is pretty close to what I have for VWAP, so that wouldn't be surprising.
Okay.
868. Let me see where that is at. Yeah, that's kind of in the top of the consolidation from the pre-market here. I don't know if there's anything that I haven't looked to the left on this one because I'm sure there's going to be some areas we can look at there. But no, those are some great levels to look at. Let's okay, and here we got to move through the VWAP. So there's that happening right now. Let's see if it holds or if it pulls back in like it did earlier this morning.
Okay,
we are getting a move here.
Good stuff there on Wheeler. Let's go back to the movers workspace that I have. Okay, Next here is going to be NTCL. This is Net Class Technology. I've never looked at this stock in my life.
And you probably won't ever want to ever again.
That's kind of what I thought. Glad you're here looking out for us, 13. All right, let me take a quick look at the news here. I don't see anything news-wise. Quick look around the horn. 14.4% of the float shorted. That comes on 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 632,000 shares per day. We've traded about 4 million shares here today. The float's 5 million. What do you got here on NTCL?
I thought I had the correct news, but apparently that was from May. So I have no idea why this is moving. But wouldn't you know it, this company is based in China. So I think
I was just
another China pump. No, it's just another China pump. You go ahead and put your shots in. Get in there.
No. I was literally, so first of all, Wiss had said China pump and dump. Yeah. Literally, as you were saying that, 13, I was using Benzinga Pro to click through to the company's website. And as you said China pump, this is the first thing that I saw on my screen. And that's why I made a noise and was like, you really shouldn't interrupt your co-host here because he's doing a great job outlining everything that's going on. But I basically arrived at the exact same conclusion you did, man.
When you clicked on that, did the address bar come up and say .cn? Because that's going to be your giveaway every time.
No, actually, this one says .com.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it said .cn.
Oh, okay. So maybe there was a redirect that I missed. Maybe I wasn't quick enough there. Okay. Nonetheless, here's your chart. So this did come back in. It looks like to what? The 15 EMA, maybe bounced a little bit there. We're beneath the VWAP. I don't know though. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to trade very similar to how we've seen these other pumps we've traded before happen. They could just start to do pretty much nothing out of the gate, maybe trail off a little bit, and then out of nowhere they're just going to have a sudden move. So I don't know that there's any way that you can maybe any good way that you can set up for that, because it seems to come out of the blue, but usually you do get some indication of like curling or a volume expansion. So if you're looking to do a trade in this, that's what I would be watching for. But I think that we can find some better things to trade out there today than this one.
Okay, Nick here saying there's an article on it about China stock scams. Okay, Nick, I didn't see that, but this is a good mention there. Buyer beware. Good morning, Fairchild. Great to see you here this morning. Good morning, Sweet One, Beach Bum Trading, Blazed Rhino, Barry the Goat, Whisk J, Smoked Tuna, and anyone else that I might have forgot. Good morning. Great to have all of you here on a Friday. Okay, next. Baiynd. B-I-Y-A, Baiynd International. This was a penny stock on Wednesday. We traded to what, 173 it looks like here in the pre-market, and we've come all the way back in. Shares are trading higher on no news. Quick look around the horn here. Float 10.13 million, that's rounded up. 1 day to cover, 1.37% of the float shorted. On average, the stock does just over 500,000 shares. Today, we've traded 32 million shares. This also looks like some type of pump and dump.
Yep. My security measures won't even let me go to their website.
Okay. Generally speaking, that's a red flag, as the kids say.
Yeah. It's funny, too, because it had some red lettering there, too. So, yes, red flag, literally. I didn't cover this one. I don't know the reason it's moving, but I think we can guesstimate what that reason might be. Very low float. Well, not the lowest that we've seen. It's 10 million shares. Don't see really any significant short interests. Nope. So, this is just something I would go on the technicals with. It's losing at 65 EMA right now. It's trading beneath VWAP for a good portion of the morning. I think if there's any trade here, it's not going to be until after we get the open. And even then, we might go under $1. So I think there's better things to trade than this.
Yeah, I'm with you. This to me is a complete pass, at least based on the volume alone. It really looks terrible. Okay, next is Lucy. This is one that we've definitely
Buy your buddy. I was loving that.
I literally I was going to start talking about Lucy, and I got completely sidetracked.
Born, stop distracting us.
I kept getting sidetracked by CNBC. I eventually had to stop looking at the television. Thankfully, that spot is over here. But then, Born, you successfully Also distracted me with that one. Good stuff there. Lucy, next on the list here. We've definitely traded this one before.
Oh, yes.
We should know what's going on here with Lucy. Innovative eyewear shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Smart Tech Retail Group to showcase the Reebok-powered Lucid collection and other brands at the new Smart Tech location in New York City. The initial pop here actually took us to 427. We've come back in. We actually did try to retry the VWAP on some pretty low volume, unable to get above that. This one, I would say put this one on the back burner more so than like Baiynd and NTCL that we just looked at. We've seen this run, and one pop of volume here might light the candle on this one. Quick look around the horn here, 16.79% of the float shorted, so has some squeeze potential there. 1 day to cover there. That 1 day to cover comes on 1.1 million shares. Today we've traded 5.7 million shares. The float's only 1.8 million shares. So for 13, I know we've talked a lot about some of the glasses, whether it be Meta, Vuzi, or Lucy. What do you think here on ticker LUCY?
I took a little bit of I don't want to say a deep dive, but a deeper dive than on some of these other ones this morning, because I was interested in what this is happening here. And I've been kind of big into the whole glasses and eyewear, smart eyewear, because, Apple's not doing that. Meta is. I think that's a big misstep by Apple to not be up to speed with that. And they're planning theirs for like 2027. They said company had some pretty interesting news and a little bit of an article here that I got some future catalyst information on. So this showcase is actually going to be happening on July 22nd. So I think we could get some more movement out of Lucy either as that date approaches or on that date. I think the showcases could be a sell the news event as well. So maybe we do see some run up into that event, but July 22nd, I think that's going to be an important day. We could see this be on the movers list again. Now, there was something else I was going to say about this, but I don't think I can remember what it was. But in any event, I think this is interesting today. I don't know that we're going to get a whole lot out of it today. We might, but I'm not too optimistic about it. I think that the seasonality. I don't know about the seasonality. I haven't checked on that, but I think it might not be that great. So I don't know if there's going to be a run up, but this is just something to look forward to for me. I'm not sure how much of a great trade we're going to have here today. Worth keeping an eye on, but I think that that launch July 22nd could be a bigger catalyst.
Okay, real quickly here, XIII doing some investigative work for the group. We appreciate you, XIII. You are quite sweet. Their sunglass and audio combo, there does not seem to be smart tech in these for the Reebok model as far as I can tell. I did no digging into this, so I'm going to take your word and XIII's word on this for Lucy. I would imagine with no smart tech there, unsure how crazy that's going to be. I'm sure 13 is looking into that for you. Okay, I will keep going down the list here. 13, you can keep reading if you're.
No. Let's go into the next thing.
Okay. I was going to say the next one here is going to be KWE. There's no news here. This thing recently popped. I don't know that there's anything else we really need to cover here. You already talked a little bit about Oscar. AIFF, this is one that we've traded before. This actually has a pretty decent pre-market chart formation, and it just so happens that we're pushing away from the VWAP right now as I got there. Firefly Neuroscience shares are trading higher after the company announced a breakthrough in Alzheimer's detection using combined EEG, ERP, and VMRI. So AIFF here, a pretty good PR. They did pop as high as 420. Where the hell's wisdom? They came back in and have now traded above the VWAP. Maybe we get some more action here. We're also seeing the volume tick up a little here. I think if this volume expands, giddy up, you're ready to go. Quick look around the horn here, 7.51% of the float shorted, and that comes on 3.44 days to cover. So that's actually creeping up a little bit. Thing to keep in mind there, that comes on 870,000 shares of average volume over the past 100 days. Today, we've traded 12.6 million, so we're dwarfing that. Float here is 10.5. What do you think, 13?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that we were moving so fast. I was kind of stuck on KWE for a moment there.
My bad.
With this one, I didn't look into this, but hey, Alzheimer's detection, that's going to, get movement every time, especially, it's going to be the Alzheimer's, oncology, and I think some other blood
Parkinson's,
diseases.
rare disease.
Yes, rare disease. Yeah, those typically get you some movement here. Let me look at the chart on this one, because I didn't look at this one this morning.
And if you have something on KWE, we can absolutely go back to that.
Well, it looked like it was just setting up to make another move higher. It didn't seem like there was any news it was going off of, except for on Wednesdays, which was the defense contract news. So it could just be some carryover from that. But, we can go back to that in just a second. AIFF, this looked like it needed to really make a move through 420 now. Because if it doesn't do it here, I think that we're going to lose VWAP and start to trade lower.
Okay. We'll watch that. Now, did you want to go back to KWE at all?
Let me let me just pull that.
You said this was looking like it might try and trade higher here as we straddle the VWAP.
Yeah, exactly. So this had a pop up to 1650, and now we've just kind of gone sideways. It's compressing. So I'm waiting to see if this compression is going to result in a breakout or a breakdown. And it looks like if the volume can expand, we can get a breakout. I'm just a little concerned about the way the MACD is looking. It's indicating that this momentum is starting to slow down here. But I just need to see this wall of sellers here. It looks like at about, 14 that they are. There seems to be some sellers at 14 that are just in the way, and it doesn't seem like they have very big positions. So all it's going to take is just a large, a whale to come in here and just break through that wall of sellers, which isn't very strong. So I don't know, but that's what I'm waiting to see here with KWE. It looks like it's setting up, but it doesn't have that volume right now.
Okay, good stuff there, KWE. All right, let's see. I don't really have anything else here off the movers list. So let's use the remaining time to do ticker time here. You okay with that? Did you have anything else that maybe we didn't cover?
No. Let's go.
Okay, perfect. So we took a look at CRISPR. We're going to take a look at Tesla, I'm sure. Someone had asked about iBit. iShares Bitcoin Trust. This is the one that pays the nice dividend, right? I don't have it listed here.
That's the one that's basically only Bitcoin in the holdings.
Right.
The one that pays the
that's Bitto. Sorry,
Bitto, yeah.
I always mix those up. Okay, glad we were checking on that. Thank you, 13. Here is iBit. Let me see if I can find what the comment was here on iBit. I think they were asking. It looks like this is going to break out here. I'm pretty sure that's what they were asking about. I'm sorry, I should have took some notes on what that person was asking. I like it on a move right through the 20. And I can't find it. I'm sorry.
Meta announces Oakley Meta glasses releasing July 11th for $500. That's a great time. Great timing, to be honest.
Okay. Sorry. Really quickly here with iBit, I couldn't find the what you had posted. Whoever was asking about this earlier. This is obviously just trading with Bitcoin here. I think as long as you have a bullish view on a Bitcoin, you should have a bullish view here on iBit. As 13 mentioned, this is the one that really follows Bitcoin and not some of the other coins here. Does look again like this is going to try and trade higher here. I'd be watching maybe 63 as a potential key level. Let's see if we have anything here on the short interest. Yeah, 4.5 million. So this has actually come down. The actual raw short interest has come in quite a bit on this one. No float figure for this. 13, you got anything here on iBit?
No, the only thing about iBit is that it's just going to follow Bitcoin. So whatever Bitcoin does, iBit's going to do it.
Thank you, Shan Lu. Thank you. Here we go. I wanted to know if it could hit 61. I mean, yes, it could. I mean, 61. This is at 60.27 here in the pre-market. Like, yes, that could easily hit 61. Again, that still has to do with the 20-day, which is up here at 60.56. But as 13 just said, this is all going to be just does it move with Bitcoin? Tell me what Bitcoin does here today, and I'll tell you what iBit does here today. Yeah. Bitcoin chart looks like it made a high earlier this morning at about the futures anyway at 106 3/4. It's come back into 106 and it's held there. If that moves higher, I think you're going to get an exit on your iBit.
Yeah, it's just been, Bitcoin's been kind of just consolidating ever since it had this drop early this morning at about 4:45, and it's just trading in a range between, let's see here, between like 105.8 and 106.2. So that's about where it's the range is right now. Don't know which way it's going to go as long as this, but I would imagine that if this 65 EMA gets tested, we could rebound off that, but just gonna have to watch for the volume. I'm just gonna say I don't know which way it's gonna go. It could go either way today, just based on the way this is trading sideways.
Okay. Good stuff there. Galt is the next one on the list here. This is, I'm actually kind of happy to see this because like I was telling you guys earlier this week, I actually golfed with the CEO randomly when I got paired with him and his wife at the golf course here. I'll throw this out there. I don't know how much this actually has to do with anything. I did say, hey, if you have any big news and you want to break it, give me a call or give my news desk a call here. We'll set you up with somebody. I didn't get that. We're moving pretty crazy here in Galt. If we take a look at the intraday chart, you can see this really started here on Tuesday. We had a nice continuation day on Wednesday. It looks as if we're gapping higher by 17% on very low volume here today. So what I would say on this one is if you get gains, don't be afraid to take them. Make this a shorter term trade. I don't think this is one that's going to 10x. I've got no indication for that. However, 23.6% of the float shorted with 50 days to cover. Now let's take a look at that. That 50 days to cover is likely because the average volume here is pitiful at under 500,000 shares. We've only traded 250,000 shares here today. Float on this is 37.7 million. So we'll see here if Galt gets rolling. June 18th. No fresh news here. GALT, but a nice move. We take a look at the daily chart. You can see exactly where we came back to. So we actually just traded above a consolidation area, and now we are looking to test this 430 area. This is resistance that goes all the way back to 2019, I believe. Yes, the late 2019 has resistance right up here. Let's see. Let me get you that exact number here again. About 435-ish. We're currently sitting at 396. So watch the move through the round number here. You do have a little bit more of a resistance area, not far above here, 430-ish.
The amount of days to cover on the short seems quite high, but this thing potentially a big short squeeze, and that's pretty much all I've got to say about it because I didn't look into this. I was kind of looking at some of the other tickers that folks were asking us to go through, but for this one, I'd have to look into this some more, but that's really interesting. Short information. 23% float, the float shorted with like 50 days to cover.
And just to kind of go back to what you were saying here, Gallatin Therapeutics is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company. The company focuses on drug research and development to create new therapies for fibrotic disease, cancer, and select other disease.
Yeah, but how much cash do they have? Oh, they need to raise capital. Yeah,
they sure do. $7.4 million on the balance sheet. They cash flow that negative every quarter at least.
Yeah.
So we got a raise coming here, it looks like. We got a capital raise coming.
I would think so. For me, I would be going backwards through their news history to see if there's any, since their last earnings report, if there's any other sales or deals they've made, or if they've planned to file to offer more shares to raise capital. It doesn't look like it since they just had earnings back in May. So I would be keeping my eye out for some form of financing because that's what's going to have to happen here with this company.
Yeah, last time that they raised money via secondary offering was 2019. So maybe you get that again here. Ticker
what price?
G8. What's that?
What price? Because you just said we're coming up to a 2019 resistance area.
It doesn't. It actually doesn't have it listed here, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Anyway. I would say with this one, if you get gains in this one, treat it as a short-term trade. Everything's ripping here. Izzy just yelled that Amazon is ripping. Apple at the highs, Costco at the highs, Netflix at the highs, Tesla at the highs, Palo Alto at the highs. So I'm not sure what just took place right there.
It's quad witching.
Reuters reports Israeli media says initial reports indicate missile impacts in Tel Aviv. Nope, that's not it.
Well, while you're looking at that, I was taking a look at INVZ since we were getting asked about that one.
Okay.
This one doesn't appear to be moving up on any news today. It did have news on Wednesday in the morning. I guess it could even be in the afternoon, depending on where you are. But this is had some news that they were trading higher after a partnership was announced with Cogniteam to launch turnkey LiDAR and AI-powered threat detection solutions. And they also got a price target raised from 222 to 253. So with that, they were trading. It looks like they were trading higher on Friday. Let me just double check and see if that's it looks like they were trading a little bit higher on Friday. May have started to top out now. I'm not sure. Financials, they lose almost as we're open now. They lose almost as much as they have in the bank, but they do have short-term investments that can be converted to cash. So short interest, maybe that's where we get some upward movement, but I really don't know what we're going to get out of this one. Seems like we're already heading down.
Okay, real quickly here, JFBR, which is on the scanner. This pop, Jeff Brands and Impact Acquisitions receive approval from the TSX Venture Exchange for Fort Products merger at a valuation of approximately $15 million. That's still moving higher here. Wheeler higher out of the gate here as well.
Yep, that's starting to get going here. Looks like there's a wall. They just took it out. There was a seller that was trying to pull it back down. Still beneath its view up, where it's actually trying to capture its view up. We are above it. It just keeps going above and below. Looks like that 830 level is coming into play. That's Wheeler. NTCL, the China pump, that had a rise and fall out of the gate there, so no surprise. BR.
I'm going to need you to do that all Friday here today. That's what I need for a good Friday. That sound effect.
BIYA. BIA is not doing anything except going lower. It looks like GUR is looking great.
Yeah, it sure is. You know what? And you sent me the Tony the Tiger sound. I will use this weekend to get that on there. I have to figure out what I'm going to drop. But that's a good one.
Because I think I put it on there because we were trading this exact one. So I was like, it's going to come back at some point. When it does, I hope Ryan has it ready to go.
Yeah, I dropped the ball on that 113, but I promise I'll make it up to you. I'll make it up to you.
Now the GUR is coming up to a whole bunch of consolidation from back in earlier this year, like February, March time period. We have that consolidation that starts at about 250, 265, goes up to almost $30. But so we're in that right now. Might run into some issues. There's also a resistance area that appears to be at about 26 based on the December 2024 highs that we made. And it looks like that we went exactly to 26 on that pop out of the gate here. So 26, definitely a resistance area based on past price action. Okay. Galt, knifed and halted.
We talked about it. We set it up. I didn't know it was going to take that little time, but there we go. There we go on Galt.
Wheeler's still trying to move higher here.
Lucy's trying to go through the VWAP. 8 cents for that test right now. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like Lucy trying to get back up to VWAP. I don't know if it's going to break through it or not.
Oh my God, Mullen's on the list. Mullen to the VWAP. Jay. Oh, this stock just makes me laugh at this point. I got nothing serious in terms of analysis here on Mullen.
Yes, Justin, we did talk about Oscar.
Yeah, we did. I want to ask a really quick question here. Does anyone else take AG1? Is anyone else on AG1? They just started carrying it at Costco. I bought it last weekend. I've been using it all week. And I just want to know if anyone else has had an experience using AG1. Take your time on that. Wheeler did go through the VWAP.
Yeah.
Watch him move through 9.
And we're coming up to, I believe we're at that one of those levels that that were mentioned. I'm sorry, who was gave us those 3 levels? We were already above 1.
It was Day Trader.
Yeah, okay, so Day Trader. I think we just came up to and got resistance at one of your other levels. Maybe I have that wrong, and I was thinking of a different number, but we are coming up to what I thought was one of your levels, and there's been resistance there so far. we break through it, I think the next spot we're going to have at resistance can be that 950. So.
By the way, Tesla ripped out of the gate here, ripped higher. And by the way, that little spike in the S&P futures here, I did see that Waller was on CNBC. I didn't hear what he said, but now they're running a thing along the bottom here. Waller, quote, "We are in a good position to bring rates down," end quote. That is definitely what the market spiked on. I think it's bringing some of these stocks with it. Apple's still at the highs. Tesla's pulling back from the highs. Apple just set new highs. Netflix new highs. Bitcoin actually moving lower.
Yeah, Lucy just testing the VWAP. Got a large seller at 304, 305 it has to deal with. Yeah, it's almost at its 200
Yes.
AI.
I'm such a child. I don't even know what to say. I really don't.
AIFF still trying to close a 5-minute candle over its VWAP. Ryan, it's because it takes us back to a time when TV was better.
Yeah, that's true. Izzy here saying the Waller news was before open. Yes, so too was that move higher. That was also before the open. Really quick here, Zane saying Costco has AG1. I couldn't believe it either. And you get more.
Sorry to interrupt you. GUR is breaking through its high of 26.
Yeah, you use the promo. Yes, no. So does it do positive things? Those of you that use it, have you noticed positive things happening? Because I think I am starting to notice that. By the way, 13, I'm going to leave GUR on screen here. I'm going to step away for just 1 sec. I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. Meanwhile, we also have Lucy that is taking out its VWAP. And IBIT is actually sinking lower. KWE also lower. This KWE looks like this may end up going down under 12. AIFF did pop over its VWAP. Then it's completely sinking, looking to get into some of these lower areas of the consolidation from the pre-market. What else? NTCL, that's going lower. No surprise there. Wheeler looks like this is trying to go higher. Looks like we're going to break that level and go to 950. Certainly trying to do that. We just had a print above that resistance area we mentioned earlier. Is it going to take it and go higher? Seems like we need to just get past 9, and then we got 950 on our hands. That's what you need, day trader, is me making all those sounds. I'd prefer if we just had Tony the Tiger do GUR and Dave Chappelle do BYA. Okay. Here we go. Wheeler trying to push through 9. It's still hitting it. Still hitting it. A little bit above 9, trying to get to 950.
Zane. Good stuff. Makes me feel great. Helps me run.
And we're getting a pull in Wheeler. Lucy is pushing higher, though.
Which one is?
Lucy, that's pushing higher. It's over its VWAP now.
So really quickly on that Fed Waller thing, C-Dub mentioning here, cuts possible as soon as July. I know we had this discussion on Happy Hour on Wednesday, 13, but it seems to me that that's kind of like the thought process coming out of the comments that we got here this morning. What are your I know you had suggested September. Maybe you want to share with the group why you thought that, but what do you think on the surface here about these possible cuts in July? I tend to think that we're not going to see that. I think that they definitely want to see at least a print on inflation before that.
Yeah, I've been saying that I don't think we'll see any rate cuts until at least the second half of this year. So July, if we get one, then that's in line with what I was thinking. But I still think July might be a little bit too early. Still possible. I'm not going to take that off the table that they could do a possible 25 basis point cut in July, but I think it's more likely they do it in September. If let's say that we are going to get 2 rate cuts this year, the earliest I think that we would get that would be September, because that's still ahead of any fiscal budget that would be getting passed So, and you want lower rates when you pass these fiscal budgets, because if you have to do any financing, you want to have it at a lower rate. So I think that if there is going to be any kind of budget, I'm sorry, hold on a second. I was just looking at Lucy because that's still
I was going to say, I'm looking at Lucy too. I'm
sorry
actually
to get
upset I didn't
distracted.
answer this.
I'm sorry to get distracted, but if there is going to be any rate cut, I think personally that it's going to happen in September, because you do have the possibility of July. But if they don't do it in July, you do have this period in August where they're not going to do any rate cuts. They actually have an economic symposium where we could get some more comments out of Powell. He's going to be speaking at that. And then you go into the September rate cut, which I believe is toward the end of the month. Let me double check that.
Yeah, that's the Jackson Hole. That's at the end of July.
No. I'm talking about the September rate cut.
Oh, sorry.
I'm about when that is. No, it's the middle of September, 16th to 17th. It's late July is when we get the next FOMC meeting. It's the 29th and 30th. So I don't, like I was saying, I think it's much more likely that we get one in September than in July, but it would not surprise me if we got one in July. If we are going to get two this year, September would be the first one. I think the second one would be in December.
Okay. Good stuff there. Laura in Florida says September.
That's
Smoke Tuna says, gave you Lucy. Indeed, you did. I was actually looking at this one and did not get filled on this, likely because I had to go to the washroom.
Now, if Lucy can continue to hold above VWAP, there's another chance for this to push over 350. Been running into resistance around 345, that area. That's about the highs we've had so far this morning. Not the one pop at 835 notwithstanding, but we are holding above the VWAP. I don't know where your VWAP's at, but mine is at 315. We're trading above that right now. So if we can continue to hold above this, looks like there's a large seller at 340, some other areas above that as well, but 340 seems to be the area that the sellers need to get taken out for this.
I've got VWAP at 313, pretty much exactly the same spot as you.
And folks are mentioning Wheeler. Danielle is mentioning Wheeler. That is over the 950 pre-market high. We got that.
Yep.
Looking for 10 now.
That one I didn't even look at.
Let me see if I can get some levels to where this potentially could go. Now, keep in mind, this is Wheeler. We do not have a lot of confidence in this, going to new astronomical highs. So make sure you pay yourself on the way up.
Izzy, good stuff there. IMRX. This is actually doing a good job holding above the intraday high right around that 3 level. This one might not be done either if the volume stays here. Smoke Tuna reminding us that Lucy is not done here for today. I'll tell you what, I'll move back down to here we go. Hang on a sec.
And here's 10 in Wheeler. We just got 10.
I actually didn't get filled there.
And we're probably going to halt here because 10 was a big level for Wheeler, and now it's starting to stack up the shares at 10.05. I think we're going to halt in this one.
Here's your Wheeler.
Yep,
I'm watching Lucy on a different screen here.
All right, Wheeler's halted. So, folks, I don't know what we're going to get out of Wheeler. This one, usually when it comes to halts, I think, oh yeah, then if we unhalt out of it, when we unhalt all of this, this is going to go higher. I don't know about this one. I don't have a whole lot of information. It's running on basically nothing. So if there is going to be a move higher out of this halt, it could be a quick move up, and then it could knife on us. So I think with Wheeler, because I don't know what it's going to do, and there's a lot of risk that comes along with this, just be very careful about where this goes. Just I hope if you're trading this, you've got a plan for your exit. As far as where this could go, the next resistance area that I think this could run into is 1250.
Okay. Wheeler here halted at 10.05. Also, by the way, Galt, this came out of halt and moved lower. This now breaking through 3. And Lucy's going here. I didn't get a full, but I got a tad here at 317. Nice. Let's see if we can break above 350 here on Lucy. Tuna just wakes up and is like, you know what? I'm going to print money for people today.
Yeah,
he shows up here and just keeps doing it. I love it.
So we have the May highs that we're coming up to, and that's going to be 352 and 357. So if we break through that, then we just have some. Let me see here. Some other levels that we could look at are, gosh, they're really high up after that. I would say 415.
Watch 344 here.
415, 420 would be the next level for Lucy if we do break over those May highs. And folks, you're right. Like Smoke Tuna Wheeler, I don't like the volume. Brian M. Wheeler is a shite ticker. Catch a pump or stay clear. No, they're absolutely right. You have to be careful with this, and you can hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
I've been saying it all morning. We don't know enough about why this is moving. This looks like this thing has been reverse split into oblivion. Brian M., yes, catch this pump and then steer clear of it. I don't know where this goes after this. If we go higher, great, whatever. If we go lower, at least you're not in this. This had a great trade that we got that set up. We got, I hope people got what they wanted out of this. Now let's take our money and move on.
Sweet one. Wheeler long-term is reminiscent of Mullen, which for whatever reason is popping today.
Yeah, again, some nice movement in some of these names, aren't we?
Actually, Lucy did take that 344 briefly. Looks like it went to 347 here. I'm looking to take some gains there at 350 on partial. Didn't get up there. Hope I don't get smoked on that.
Wow. Galt was not looking good. Okay, so you want? I think if we're going to see any support in Galt, it's coming soon around 280. If we don't get it there, then there's 260 and 235 that look like the next support areas.
Yikes on Galt. I would just wait that one out. Lucy coming back in, but not breaking down. You guys are mentioning LEU. This is now printed above 200. Ooh. I mean, this might be one of the best trades ever on the show.
Yeah,
60.
That's a great one.
I mean, this is incredible. And it's not just some junky mover. This is like an actual company. Jay, really good stuff on this one.
And Lucy, that is still trading above its VWAP. So as long as we hold that for the next, we got 4 more minutes left in this candle. If we can hold it this candle, maybe even the next one, I feel like we could get another move up through these this 350 resistance level. Have to hold VWAP though.
And Brian, I think that 4 like number that you're seeing is incorrect. I'll tell you what, if this stream only has 4 likes, I'm shutting it down. I will check right now. No, it's not. I literally just checked and we are just shy of 100. Please get us over 100. But if this was 4 an hour and a half into it, we're going to give it up. I'll say that right there. That's not the case. We are almost at 100. Let's see if we can get 150 here on a Friday. That actually would be sweet.
Yeah, give us some Wheeler-like volume that takes our likes up. We need that.
Darn, my license plates don't show up today. Anyone know how many weeks it takes? I'm in a different state. It's probably different state to state. Anyway.
Tell me it's not a government operation without saying it's not a government operation.
I can't do any of that.
All right. So
you're actually flagging up here. This might go higher.
How much longer do we have on the Wheeler halt? This is the first one of the day. So
I've got I've got Wheeler halted here 9:42, so we should be opening any minute.
Oh, and it just opened.
And it just did. There we go.
All right, so a little bit of a pull here in Wheeler. This is kind of what we were expecting. It is holding above the 930 area right now, but I don't think it matters what happens with this one. I think for what we were looking for, we got our trade. We got that move over 950, and we've outlined how we don't want to trust this one. So if you've got gains in this, great. Let's find something else that we can trade with and not increase our risk. NTCL, of course, that China pump is a dog. Yeah, is now looking for $1.
I just saw it on the scanner and I was like, I got to go to it. I got to go to it.
Yeah, that one's trying to hold $1. So there's that. AIFF, this thing was going sideways out of the gate and then it just dropped. Now trading beneath the 65 EMA.
Okay.
KWE, still beneath its VWAP, hasn't broken down yet. We are still trading above some of these pre-market levels before the pop. So as long as those provide support, we could see some another move to the upside later on this morning. But for now, not looking like there's any trade there. Sorry, go ahead.
Oscar, this is actually doing a good job holding its pre-market level. Looked like it tried to go higher. Couldn't yet, but might still. Gurr here breaking out of that bull flag.
Oh, it's certainly looking like it's trying to. There we go.
Sure
27
is.
Next. Galt looks like Oscar. Sorry. Galt just absolutely knifing here. Still it's unhalted and it went lower, trying to find some support from that I think I outlined this area. This is the 280 area, 275 area. I think we're getting support from some of those highs from the what is this? The Tuesday levels.
We're gonna get a bunch of Ayn Rand Atlas Shrugged jokes here. The more we talk about gulp, we already got some this morning.
GER is over 27. Well, it was over 27 just a moment ago. Hit a high of 27.19.
Good call on that Tesla knife, Izzy. I actually didn't even notice that, but I am seeing puts follow this move down here on Tesla. I'm also noticing more CoreWeave calls, as this thing might be making a move to 200 now on CoreWeave. Look at this move.
Okay, so it took 2 weeks, but that level that I thought was a top is not the top. Although that was a good mention of for a pullback. So let me see if I can find the next pullback level.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be awesome. And Lucy, by the way, just snapped. Lucy just broke its VWAP, but it's trying to reclaim it, and it did reclaim it.
So one thing you can do.
Here we go on Lucy. Let's see if we can actually move higher here.
Look at CoreWeave. High that we thought was the top was 166 and 63 cents. Ever since we broke above that has been support. So I think if you're trading this and doing long-term trading with CoreWeave, put that high that we had on as a just as a horizontal line, because I think you're going to see frequent interaction with that every time the price comes down there.
Okay, something's happening here
with
my Pro. It's totally locked up here. I don't know what the heck's going on. Come on.
F5.
Well, no. See, it's changed. It's like wants to come back. Okay, fine. F5. Okay, you win. It's not even doing anything now. It has to do with the sharing. Me and Anne Marie, we have, and you've had issues with Restream. I'm having issues in Pro when I only stream. Anne Marie has the same thing. It's gotta all be related. Here's CoreWeave. Okay, give me that. Are you kidding me? Can I just not look at the CoreWeave chart?
You're not allowed. Wheeler, that opened, came down to its VWAP and got support, trying to turn around and go back up higher. Looks like Lucy is about to try to resolve higher, looking to take out that 345 area. SPY made the return trip to the opening print. Thank you for that, Big Bear. Looks like GER is starting to come in some more, looking for, looks like 2550 might be a support. That's early before the VWAP. So if we don't get that 250 support, VWAP should kick in after that. Lucy looking great here. Perfect setup. Smoked tuna. I know you. Yes, that was. I saw you said refill, and I was like, yeah, it looks like that would be a great time to do it. So I took some. Great call out there, Smoked Tuna. Good job on this trade. This is looking great.
Sure is. Glad it came back in too and gave us a reload chance. Smoked Tuna, amazing on the call there, by the way. Partial peeled at 350 right there. Rest will ride. We're actually at the top end of the standard deviation band in the broker here for VWAP on Lucy.
Yep, that VWAP area, that was the reload site. It was looking really good. IBIT actually dropped beneath 60, hit 59.90. So out of that consolidation that I was unsure about what's going to happen with, we did get a breakdown out of it. So let's see if we want to look at where we could get some support. Looks like we already got some from the highs from what was this, Wednesday? That's interesting. Oh yeah, because IBIT anyway. So Wednesday's highs, that's where we just recently got support on this move down. That's where we're going to want to see it hold. And it should do pretty well up in that high 59 area, because that is the site of some highs from the day before and in the pre-market from Wednesday as well, or Tuesday. I mean,
Lucy might be trying to go higher here. 369 is that high spot. We'll see if we break that.
Yeah, and we got a high of 428 this morning. GER coming back into its VWAP.
Smoke Tuna, really quickly. Sorry to interrupt you here. Do you think we see this pre-market high? Here we go. 370. We did take out that 369, but we didn't pop yet. Watch 370 as there's a bunch of stock available for sale there.
So we just took out the May highs that I was pointing out earlier with Lucy. Trying to think of where I saw the next. I think it said it was somewhere around 425. I think would be the next area of support, or I'm sorry, resistance. So with that in mind, that might be actually that's first 428. That's where we ended up going. So that's the next resistance area I see. Don't know if we'll get there, but that's certainly the one that we're going to go to. If we hit that, watch what the volume's at, because if it's significant, we'll break through it. If not, we'll just test that again as resistance. Yeah, as long as it's exactly. Smoke Tuna
might be coming back in here because I'm thinking I got just another chunk left here. I want to see another high of day break. I've got stop at entry down there, 317. So there's no way we're going to lose on the second chunk. Actually, I'm going to raise that stop.
I think we need the Lucy theme song for this one.
I
Love Lucy.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Linus and Lucy.
No.
Okay, because that's awesome.
I need I Love Lucy's theme song for this one.
Okay, Lucy coming back in here. We'll see if it can hold 350. I'm gonna skip around while we're waiting for this to shake out here.
Or we could
good stuff there, by the way. Good stuff all the way. 380 is your high spot there. Okay, Tuna.
Or we could have Lucy's husband Ricky go, Lucy.
13 might be doing too much here this morning.
Hey, you know what? My vacation's already started for this weekend. So
honestly, as soon as this show ends, my weekend starts. Oh, that's right. You have an entire vacation. That's right.
That's next week, though.
Oh, that's next week. Okay. Yeah. Do we want to prepare the viewers for that?
Oh, well, folks, I'm just not going to be here next Friday and Monday because I'm going out of town. That's all. But I'll be here for Thursday, and I'll be here on the Tuesday afterwards.
So Friday and Monday of next week, or the following? It's the following week.
Friday next
27
week,
and 30. 27 and 30.
Yep, that's it. So end of July, basically.
Here we go, Lucy.
There it is, taking out those sellers. There's a large
there's 370 up and through, and a bit of a pop there.
Wow,
375.
They're taking out a lot of sellers at that.
Right there, there's 380 selling into this right here and out. That is how that is done. Smoke Tuna with an amazing call here. Watch this go higher now that I'm out of the way. If that's the case, though, grats to all y'all.
No,
by the way, that sell there came at that final fill came at 387. And now we're above 4. So there we go. Maybe we are going. Next stop here, pre-market high. We got that at 429. Smoke Tuna, what I'd like to know from you, what level do you think we should reload this at if it comes in and holds? Or maybe we're just done with it by now. You let me know. Okay, now I'm going to dial it back a little bit and not give gains back today because I am not going into my weekend effing it up.
That's it. That's the name of the game. Why give back what you just had a great time earning?
Let it cool off, says Tuna. Boom. Mama Bear sold at 411. Did you top tick that? That is insane. What a sell.
I got a high of 414, so she came very close.
Wow. Within 3 cents of top ticking, y'all are better than I am. Tuna the stock sniffer. We're having a good Friday, folks. This is what we like to do out here.
Oh, just when you thought, I was going to turn around, it hasn't yet.
Apple, by the way, holding. Okay, so it tried to go above 200, but it cannot hold above 200. Holding 199.90 right now.
The volume's not great, but AIFF is trying to turn around. It has a bit of reversing going on here. It is trying to recapture the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Not sure if this is going to hold, but we need to see multiple closes on this 5-minute chart above the 65 EMA. That would give me a little bit more confidence that this is trying to go back up to its VWAP. Uphill battle this one has, but it's looking like it's trying to turn around.
Nice Yoda impression right there. Amazon coming back in a little bit. Amazon scalped it at 214. Izzy, where's the buy? Izzy, if this holds 212, is this another possible scalp on Amazon? I'm trying to get a feel for how to do this every day. I don't have it yet. So you let me know. Did Lucy go higher? It sure did.
It's just been a few cents higher. When a few cents higher, it's trying to get to that 425 area. It looks like it may get it, but don't be surprised if it does pull off here.
416 is the high print that I have. I got no position. Again, just to be clear here, I am all out. Oh my God. 453. Okay. Whoever held this, have a great one.
Next level is 550.
Day trader, have a great weekend.
Take care, day trader.
Oh, I love this. I absolutely love this. Market pullback. No more trades on Amazon today. Okay. Thank you, Izzy. 453. Look at that. What a spot here. Congrats to everyone that's on Lucy here today. That's how we make a Friday, baby.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd be wanting to do anything else with Lucy right now.
I don't even care that I missed the 50 cents or 60 cents.
That's kind of what
I don't even care.
But that's what I've been kind of saying, like with a lot of these trades. Like, sure, this thing can go on higher than where you made your exit. That doesn't matter. All that matters is that you followed your plan. You exited when you wanted to, when you decided when the exit was going to happen. And that was your whole thing. You got what you traded. Be happy with that.
455 is your day high. We're coming up for another test here. As Tuna says, chase the volume. The volume has told the story here. If this volume starts to die down, I think maybe that 455 high might be the high from the day. But it obviously changes, right? That volume changes there. Okay. Remember, I called for your entry, the 317 area, but it gave an even better entry. Where did that go down to on that pull?
Lucy?
Yeah, 317.
315 is the low that I have.
On the low, okay, yeah. So I was going to say I did not bottom ticket. Will says, I consistently make money listening to you too. Well, that is fantastic, and I'm going to give you a one-up. But I'm going to amend your statement and say that it's not just us two. This is a group effort. The entire Lucy trade today, I had the confidence to enter this because the group was doing it. We outlined it. We walked through the catalyst and all of that, but it was the group effort here that made me feel better about it. Lucy, big pull down to 4.9.
Yep.
409.
Yep.
Good call, cured salmon. Oh, sweet one.
I had salmon this week.
Oh, man. I don't like fish. I don't really care much for fish. I guess I'm learning a little bit. I like some, but salmon, I just can't.
Have you ever caught a fish, gutted it, and eaten it?
I have caught a fish. I've never gutted, and I've eaten fish. No, I've not done the whole thing.
It's similar to my whole approach especially with gardening. My grandmother was really taught my brothers and I about gardening, and there's a whole different element to the way the food not just tastes and feels, but just that you grew this, you harvested it, you cooked it, you did from soil to table. It's just a whole different experience, and you're not getting anything injected into it, like no additives or nothing. It's just all natural. I do have experience with. I really enjoy growing things in a garden. My mom, shout out to my mom, who's been gardening my entire life. Whether it's herbs or vegetables, I do love the whole seed to table thing there. I'm with you on that. Never done it with fish or animal meat, but I have done it with stuff that I grow in the backyard. And you're right about that. You're hitting it right on the head. It is awesome. Lion, take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. Thinking about it is asking me about the banned fish, PHIH. I was never a huge fish head. I have tried mahi. Mahi's much lighter and I think sweeter. I do like mahi. Absolutely.
Hey, Lori, sorry, I'm going to celebrate the victory lap. Out of Lucy made money. Wanted out early on a Friday. Thank you, everyone. It's always fun. You're welcome, Lori. Promise me and the rest of the group that you'll enjoy your weekend here.
Yeah, that's what we really want.
Big B's. Sorry.
We want smiling faces into the weekend. Yeah,
we do. Big B's mentioning that there is a battle going on Visa. Did this pull out of the gate? It looked like, yeah, it sure did. So this pulled to 336 and got bought. And it looks like it's trying to go red to green here on Visa. I didn't notice if there was any unusual option activity here. Actually, there was some put buying. All of this kind of small, though. The larger buy was the 340. This expires today. So maybe there is a short-term trade here. I don't know what to make of that, Big B's. You let me know. Dreamer, I'm so grateful for you guys. We're grateful for you, buddy.
Yeah, you guys make this possible.
Honestly, really quick, 13, sorry for jumping in here again. If you folks didn't show up every day, 13 and I probably wouldn't be here. I mean, we'd still be talking to each other because we're friends and all that, but we probably wouldn't be doing this without you. Going to a Wisconsin tourney with son. You're not far from me, is he?
Get out of here and have a good time with your son.
Yeah, and win that. Isn't he the athlete, the stud athlete? Win that. Lucy, by the way, held 4 and might be trying to bounce here. I'm done playing this for the day, but good luck to anyone else that does.
Yeah, AIFF still trying to turn around here. Also, what was the whole reason Visa was dropping?
Because of the Genius Act. Because of the Genius Act stablecoin thing that sent Circle and Coin going crazy.
Okay, so Visa and MasterCard and I imagine American Express are down on this.
Yeah, here you go. So this is before you got on, here was the news story that I covered. Analysts are pointing out that the Genius Act, which passed on the Senate Tuesday, could increase competition for the largest payment networks, Visa, MasterCard, and as you correctly threw in there, American Express.
Okay, so that's
really quickly, just to give you a little bit more, this was from Mark Hines. Dear Visa and MasterCard, stablecoin coin is coming for you. You will both grow slower. You will be forced to reduce fees. You're great businesses, but change is coming whether you like it or not. Sincerely, Disruption.
Okay.
So that's your news there, 13.
So I'm seeing that Bitcoin is going up while this is going down. So are these two now inverses of each other?
Well, we'll wait and see. That I think that the knee-jerk reaction is that. I don't know if that maintains. Bitcoin being the ultimate spec asset, having the correlation it has to the market, I don't think this is strong enough to break that.
And Jay Rice saying PayPal too. Now, what do you mean PayPal too? As in they should be getting hammered or they should be going up? That's the thing about it. It kind of answers my question. Are they lumped in with Visa and MasterCard? Should they be in with Visa and MasterCard? Should they not? And if not, then they're should be trading opposite, which it looks like it is. I'd also look at Sezzle.
So PayPal, interestingly, took a hit when this news came out, but has since been rebounding. So I wonder if something has changed there.
Sezzle is kind of sideways right now.
He said, thinking about it, said it. PayPal was wrongly lumped in,
right? Because
PayPal has its own stable coin.
Okay, so what about Sezzle? What do they have? Do they have like their own stable coin? Do they have anything but?
No, this is just buy now, pay later. Sezzle does not have its own stable coin.
Sezzle doesn't look like that's doing too great then. That's kind of it popped initially, it looks like, and now it's just been down. This looks like it's going maybe down to 140. I mean, folks, what's your thought on this? Like Sezzle, look, this doesn't look great. Like I'm looking at the daily chart, I'm looking at the smaller time frames. This thing looks like it has been going sideways for a time to where there may be some uncertain investors with this. What's going on?
Something is wrong with just this workspace on my platform. It's crazy.
Oh, hey, here's something that's not crazy. Yeah, is under $1. Wheeler, this is now looking like it's going to go under 8. Great trade on that, and glad that we got out of this one because this is coming right back to start. And then GER, that's still trying to push higher. I'd be careful with GER. If we can't get above 27 again, and I mean real soon, this thing is probably losing its VWAP. Lucy, I don't know if Lucy's done yet. It certainly doesn't have the volume it did before. I think maybe the good trade is done in this one for now. Possibly comes back later on today. I don't know that it will, but I think we've got the best trade out of it today so far. Maybe for the rest of the day. That's awesome and awesome stuff. I'm glad that everybody made money in Lucy.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Astus, how's that doing? I didn't even look at that here today. That is, oh my God, dude, we are going to get 50. Look how close we are.
That's awesome. Let me look at the rest of the space stocks, because we did have some unfortunate news over the weekend, or not the weekend, but over the holiday. They were testing Starship. I think it was Starship 29 for the next test flight, and that exploded during its testing phase. No one was hurt or anything, but it did create a minor setback. So, and one of the things that I was looking at to see if we test a theory was if Voyager had any kind of movement off of that. And
Voyager's having another bad day. I'm sorry about this one, guys. I feel really bad. I feel really bad. I only took a small position, but I'm down nearly 10 points on it.
Yeah, this is down.
It looks all. I'm gonna talk to my guy this weekend and see if I can learn anything about this. This has been really awful. By comparison to IPO performance, I mean, look at Circle. This is the opposite of that. This is extreme disappointment.
Please, when you talk to your friend, ask him about how connected SpaceX is to this, because, like I was pointing out earlier, this is the Star Lab that they're making, and probably other products they've got going on. That's all going to be sent up by SpaceX through their Starship, through likely Falcon 9 for any other smaller payloads that don't require Starship. The fact that this is going lower today, after we had the latest Starship vehicle that was supposed to be launched later this month explode, and so that's a setback. I really implore you, ask him about how.
I'll text him right now, and I'll see if I get a response. I just don't know if I'm going to get a response because it's Friday and people are doing things. So,
Bernard, I believe they. I don't know if
now.
I don't know if it was completely full, but there was propellant in there. It was a fantastic explosion. SRM is running. The smoked tuna. That is up almost 50% today. It is running. It's it just hit 12. And also mentioning NCI. That just had a big move over its VWAP. This actually had a trend line that broke. Very nice. Very, very nice stuff. Actually, if we had seen this one earlier, we could have identified that trend line and maybe taken a play out of it, but that's okay. This looks like if there's going to be any resistance kicking in soon, I think maybe somewhere between 310 and 315. We'll see if that's what happens with NCI. But yeah, SRM, that continues to rip.
Voyager continuing to plummet here. Okay.
I'm really thinking it may
I
have
just
to do with that Starship explosion.
sent a text. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I will get the information on that.
Looks like KWE trying to curl back up towards its VWAP. AIFF pulled back a little bit, got some support from its 65 EMA, trying to go higher. We'll see if we get enough volume to push higher. That's going to be the name of the game now, is which one of these gets enough volume to go back up. Looks like Wheeler is getting some attention again. That found some support from some of these pre-market highs that were beneath the VWAP.
Wheeler still needs to get through that 855 VWAP there.
Yep.
Oscar looking like it might try to take out 22. This has been resistance all morning here so far. LEU 210. No fade, just bid.
No. That's
I know. I'm trying to clean it up.
No. We dropped these F-bombs. Wheeler is done. After it hits VWAP, maybe, yeah, I would say so. Because here it is, right here at VWAP, and then watch it pull off of VWAP. And then that's it. Marty's asking what happened to U.S. Steel. I think the deal got finalized, did it not? I see, so that's just been hovering around, I think the buyout price. Let me see here. Yes. Nepal finalizes $15 billion takeover of U.S. Steel with Trump's approval. That happened yesterday while we were sleeping and the market was closed. So that's all done. Yeah, and then here we go. Wheeler pulling off the VWAP. That was great. Perfect Perfect. SRM says, Will, that's important. We got to look at that because that thing is absolutely ripping still. 1280 is now the high with a large seller positioning itself at 1275.
So real quickly, 13, it's not really connected to SpaceX.
I understand that there's there is a
No, this is the response.
Okay.
I asked my guy on Voyager.
So who's sending up their stuff? And while you look that up, NCI that popped up and then came back beneath the VWAP, tested the trend line. Now it's above VWAP. It's kind of hanging out there. Volume's not doing anything at the moment. Let's see if it can go higher here. If it does push back up, I think, let's see, the next areas of resistance are going to be at 315, 330, and then that high that it made in the pre-market of 337. No problem, though.
Lucy did try to come back into its VWAP, but didn't quite get there. Again, I'm going to pass on this one.
And SpaceX, I would say they send up most of everyone's stuff. There are some companies that other people use. You have Rocket Lab that sends up a lot of small payload. But in terms of like the size of payload, there's nobody that comes close commercially than SpaceX. They're the top dog, big time. I think you also have the United Launch Alliance, but I don't know how accessible they are. But United Launch Alliance is another one.
I'm seeing Astis puts and LEU puts getting bought here. Repeat on the LEUs. Not that I'm gonna jump in front of that. I'm not even gonna try that. You guys have been right on that one to the upside. That's for sure. To increase the size here and maybe kind of weed out some of that.
If AIFF can hold the 65 EMA here, and we can get some more volume, this might push up to VWAP. Yeah, and Wheeler did come off that. I mean, that was a great one. It traded up to its VWAP, and now it's coming back off. It looks like we're headed towards the 65 EMA on Wheeler, the 5-minute, and I would expect there to be following a test of the 65 EMA, a drop through it. Lucy doesn't look like it's finished. Looks like it's trying to take the next leg up here. Yep. If we can break out of this, if we can break out of this 428, 430 area where this big seller is, I think we could see 550. It's got to take out that seller there, large seller. AIFF is done. I'm calling it done once we lose that 65 EMA. If we get some volume expansion here, I think we could at least test the VWAP. But as far as breakouts going to 420, I'm not sure if that'd be possible.
All going to be about the volume. With you on that. All going to be about the volume here. This action looks bad.
Yeah. I want to see a loss of that 65 EMA. That's the signal for me that indicates it's done for now. Because look, here we are. We're getting that push up in AIFF. It's trying to make its way towards that VWAP, but like you were just saying, that volume is going to tell us the whole tale. If we don't get enough of that, it's not going up there. Okay, what else is there?
Well, I tell you what, Lilly came back in. That was an unreal trade off the seasonality up to that 820.
What's the price on that now? Because I was
763 on Lilly, ticker LLY.
Okay, let me see. I think I had a level. 770 was my level. So we lost that. Great. Perfect. That's what I was looking for.
Friday's happy hour special is smoked tuna. Not going to argue with that.
Nice. Looks like some of these are trying to get going here. So the KWE is trying to turn around here. I don't think there's any good trades setting up right now, but I'm just kind of like looking around and just speaking about what I'm seeing. Looks like Wheeler's trying to take another stab at pushing through VWAP. I don't know. Same thing with this one. We're going to just see some better volume than this if it's going to break through VWAP. Oscar up and up. No
That went
graphs
through.
today.
Oscar did go through 22 there. Here, let me pull that up here for you.
So, is this the new hot insurance carrier now that United Health is kind of hated?
Say that one more time. Sorry, man. Were you asking me?
I was just kind of asking in general. Is Oscar kind of the new hot insurance carrier to go with now that United Health is hated?
I mean, I don't know about actually switching the health plan. The stock sure seems to be a lot better. Actually, UNH recently was doing a really good job holding 300. Yeah, it's still doing that, but it's really just kind of trading sideways. This is actually what we wanted to see, by the way. We did not want the V recovery here on this. I don't know, though, 13. Honestly, I don't know if this is just kind of taking. I would imagine maybe people would look elsewhere after what took place with UNH, but all I know is that Tim Melvin told us to buy this in a 13 handle, and we're printing 22 today. We are almost 10 points. That's just a couple of weeks.
Nick Sender's saying yes, a small one. I believe you're referring to the size of the company. Smoketon also mentioning DPRO, worth watching. GUR sideways. AIFF lost that 65 EMA in a pretty spectacular fashion. That looks like that is now done to me.
Which one? GUR?
No, AIFF.
AIFF. Sorry.
I was waiting to see if this was going to move up towards its VWAP on any volume it was getting. But I was waiting for that 65 EMA breakdown. That just happened. Not interested.
Circle recovered from its pullback. Buy the dip still in effect here on Circle. And actually, seeing a bunch of CoreWeave contracts too. This bull flagging here, CoreWeave looks like they're buying both sides of that.
What happened to Lemonade? LMND?
That's LMND.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look here.
This is trading higher here today. It had a Form 4 that was Wednesday.
This isn't.
It was just an option sale. I don't think there's anything really going on, so to speak.
This is kind of an interesting chart, though. Let me see here. So you have a 30% short interest with almost 10 days to cover on Lemonade. You have insider buying. Well, I guess those are options. Typically, these insiders just they sell more than they buy. Timothy Bixby. Don't know what I can offer in terms of analysis on Lemonade, but it seems like it's kind of trading in sympathy with Oscar. I think the thing that I'd be paying attention to the most is that short interest. And if we are, let me look at this daily chart. It seems like this could have some squeeze potential. Keep this one on our radar. If we can get through, what is this, 44? Seems to me like the breakout level is about at just under 44. But I'll just say 44 is the level, just to make it easy. I'm going to put a line right there.
Okay.
That was interesting. Thank you for bringing up Lemonade. Let's see what we end up getting out of there. 44, that seems to be the big, yeah, I do like that. So I put a line at 44, and if I look to the left, that was a support area back from September of 2020. We lost 44 in December of 2021 through a spectacular back and forth trade. Didn't recapture it until November of last year. I like 44. Let's see what happens out of this. That could be a breakout level.
Big Ab's here saying, looks like things are compressing for an interesting afternoon. Big Ab's, can you elaborate on that? How are you positioning for the afternoon given that? Are you thinking that we maybe pop higher out of this, break down? Are you looking at individual names like Visa or some other name, or are you looking at some of the index ETFs? Let me know. Applied Opto continuing higher here today. What's that look like on the daily? Okay, that and then a huge move back in. That's just curling so far.
So with SRM, because we're getting asked about it, I guess this thing really didn't start taking off until it got that $100 million PIPE equity investment. Is that the whole reason this is moving? Seems to me like that's the case.
Which one? Sorry.
SRM.
Let me take a look here.
Because, you know, that's a lot of cash to you know, have a company get without share dilution. And this is another, this is a Tron token strategy. Okay. This is the Tron one.
Yeah, I was going to say this moved on Monday initially, and that was off that Tron headline.
And the PIPE investment.
Yeah. And we put this in the, and we put this in the alt treasury watch list on that day.
Never mind. Oh, it looks like Wheeler is trying to.
This chart actually looks awesome too. Just really quickly on SRM. Mm-hmm. I know Top's asking about how about it here. This is a nice little move here. I'll be honest. If I was in this still from the Monday move, I'd be selling into this move. Nonetheless, though, nice little move above those highs that we put in on Monday.
Lucy, still trying again here. Just watch for volume expansion. It is moving up again, trying to take out that seller just, you know, beneath 230. Volume needs to be better though. It's a large seller that they have to take out, and I don't think the volume right now is going to be able to do it. We'll see. Maybe
Sorry, just needed a sec there. My bad.
Isaac, yeah, see, Isaac just is about to break out. That's what I'm kind of waiting to see if we can take this seller out. That's sitting at, the position is at 428, but 430 has been a bit of a level this morning. So to see if we get the volume to expand and take out this this seller here. We're right there too, and they're starting to. Okay, this might actually break.
And TTD after that pop in the morning, just complete fade on no volume. That TTD trade might be over. That one might be over. That is not in favor anymore.
Yeah, just waiting to see if Lucy's going to make this other move. I'm not taking a position in this.
Yeah, me either. I got my money and I'm not giving it back.
Yeah.
Circle looks like a 225. Okay. Yep. Looks like it's trying to move back through 225. This thing's been crazy. Someone was asking about AMD earlier. They popped right out of the open, but they're giving it back. They didn't have any news that we missed, did they? No. Nope.
Let's see what that looks like. So did it hit? What did it hit? Oh, it just was shy of 133. 133 is another level that I have, because I think we were talking about AMD and 133 in the 500-day SMA, and that being kind of a resistance area, the RSI being a little high. So, you know, if this pop, that's fine. If this starts to come back in and begins to test, I'd like to see a test of 115, to be honest. That wouldn't be bad at all, I think. I think that's a pretty good spot. If it doesn't even get down there, at least come back down and test the 200-day SMA. But I'd like to see 115 get tested. I
don't want to go to my bigger chart here because I don't want it to lock my platform up. Yes, I can, Tuna. Let me do that right now.
Bitcoin's still going lower today. Trying to put in a reversal candle right now on the 5-minute chart, but been lower all morning. Some bounces in between. All right, just waiting to see what we end up getting here with Lucy. It's taken that level. The seller appears to be gone, but there's still some others a bit above it. GoPro setting, maybe on the way back to $1. And Palantir is going lower. No way. Is it really?
Is it really like lower for a trade here? Sorry, I'm still looking something up here real quick. So Sorry for being inactive.
It's kind of sideways, to be honest. But I was pointing out how we had that reversal candle on Monday. The last time when I was pointing out before, when it got a reversal candle like that one was May 14th, and we went lower after that. So this is still lower. I personally think Palantir should probably come back down to at least 133.
God, I've been waiting for that to come back down.
133 looks like that's going to be the next support area for Palantir. So we'll see if we end up getting, but it's been sideways ever since Monday. All right, Lucy, 470 was the high it popped up to. So we did get more of a pop. Came back in. It is trading above that area where the seller was, but don't know how long this is going to last. I think we might be seeing the end of this this particular move here. I don't know if this is done for the day. It's perfect. We've certainly seen some of these names come back in the afternoon and go higher, even after this show has ended. Sometimes it just goes right higher after that. What was the one that we were trading on Wednesday? And I had mentioned just I think in the chat or just before we had signed off for the day that be careful of an offering coming, and then it ended up coming right after that.
Oh God, what was that?
I think Crow was here, and he would remember, but
it was AVPO.
Yeah,
it was AVPO that did that.
Yeah, we got off of I got off the show, Jesus. And then like just minutes later, we just had that offering, and it was that was, Yassine ended up getting out at 12:50 before it knifed, so that was great. I'm glad that he got out, and anybody else that got out with some gains before it knifed. Congratulations on that one.
And I'm sorry, it was APVO, not AVPO. God,
it's okay.
I'm having a tough day, man. I'm glad I made a successful trade here because I can't type or do anything right to save my life on the computer. APVO, thank you guys for getting it correct.
Yeah, that was pretty well. But we had all the information in front of us, so we knew that there was a possibility it could have done it today, or they could have done it. They could have done it the day that they did it, or they could have done it today. The time frame of when that offering was going to happen was so narrow that there was a likelihood it was going to happen really, really soon, and it ended up happening. So yeah, that was a pretty wild call. Oh, ET3, nice stuff. He continued to trade Lucy. Well done.
Yeah, good stuff.
And J. Michael, you have a good weekend too. My vacation's next week. I will be here.
But enjoy it though, 13. Yeah. Just say yes and enjoy it. Enjoy your vacation.
Smile and wave. I got you.
GER coming back into its VWAP here.
It's going towards the ground.
Oh, good stuff. Rocket Lab actually might be curling as well.
Yeah. Big question marks for me once it gets to 30. You see how on the daily chart we've been kind of having an issue with that $30 handle. No closes above it, but we have traded above it multiple times, and it seems like that's starting to put in a bit of a bearish pattern there. Could be a head and shoulders, so we'll see if that's what we end up getting here. I'd like to see this go back up to 30, and once it gets up there, be very cautious because this looks like we could be getting a reversal at 30 on Rocket Lab. Man, Bitcoin just continues to go lower today, giving back everything that it did this morning. So if it does give all that back, let's look and see if we can find some resistance or some support levels.
Circle, on the other hand, still holding higher here by 14.5%.
So Bitcoin 105K, that looks like a pretty good support area. If we lose that, then there's some more support coming in at 104.8, and yeah, it's kind of like every $200 on the way down to to 104 basically. There's support levels at every $200 increments between 105 and 104. Will saying Oscar is looking interesting. Is that looking interesting again? It's coming back and maybe doing some stuff.
Yeah, interesting for what? Short-term trade, long-term trade, possible regression back to the mean on a triple top here at 23.5.
I think he's talking about how it looks like this might make another breakout move and try to take out 2248 because it hit 2248, came off of that, got some support from some earlier levels in the regular session, down around 2150, 2160. And it rebounded off of that. Now it's coming back up to try and take out the highs again. So if the volume does continue to expand, which it hasn't quite yet, but if it does, that could help it take out 2250. There's a large seller at 2235 that I have to deal with first. Yeah, Jay Rice, that's a great point. And I think it's because we're looking at. I think that still encompasses the entire AI theme, because we're still getting news about how these really big companies that are involved in the AI space are continuing to look at means to power all these data centers. I don't think the nuclear theme is going away anytime soon.
Yeah, me either. By the way, Nick here saying when that circle lockup ends, look out. That's December 2nd. That insider lockup, by the way. So put that on your calendar if you're looking for that, December 2nd.
How did you pull that up on Pro? I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's fine. It's in the calendar under IPOs. One of the columns there is insider lockup day.
That's great. I did not know that we had that under IPOs. That's great.
You learn something every day in this show. That is for sure. Here you go, 13. This is for you.
You need the sound that has a little.
I tried to put the thing in there and the GIF, the animated one, and it just didn't work. So we just went with the high res image.
No, I mean
we got this one too, just in case.
The string plucks. There we go. Yeah, I'm doing my part. I would like to know more. ASTS is flying. What's going on with them?
Moving towards that $50 target. I didn't think we had any fresh news on this.
I don't think there's fresh news on it. I just think that it's kind of part of the theme. Plus, there's also got some pretty good short interest, 22% with 4 days to cover. This is, it's still in that space theme where I think that satellites are getting really popular. I mean, look at these other satellite companies today. I think Siri is up. Yeah, Sirius XM is up. They're selling off right now, but they've been rising all morning. What else is moving up here today? Pull up my space watch list. Because communications. Hold on a second here. So we got EchoStar. That's up almost 4%. ASTS, of course, up 7%. VSAT, that's up 2%. So a lot of these satellite companies are doing pretty well today. The one that's on my list is SATL, Satellogic. Mm-hmm. That's down 2%. But all these other ones, I mean, so with the exception of like Voyager and SATL and maybe even Cooler, they're all up.
Yeah, like I said, I'll try and get a lowdown on Voyager for you guys on Monday.
You know what? That's a good.
At this point, I would just say stay away from it. It seems toxic.
That's a good point, Lynn. ASTS reacting to the SpaceX explosion Wednesday night. So it may or may not be that, because ASTS isn't in the business of competing with SpaceX when it comes to rockets, but they are in the business of competing with them when it comes to Starlink. So I don't necessarily believe that it could be completely on that, because I think it's just kind of the theme. But it's an interesting thought, because it might have something to do with it. But this isn't hindering their ability to put more Starlinks in space. Just took a profit on ASTS, looking to buy back around 43. Great job on your trade.
I was going to say, I actually don't hate that at all on ASTS. The move has been so hard, so far, so fast. I think trading around that probably really smart. and you might get a pullback to 43 real quick. BKSY, by the way, Black Sky, this is also on the movers tool here today. I saw that thinking about it. Noticed that earlier. Here's your possible breakout too, by the way, on Black Sky.
Was ASTS moving on Wednesday? Was it moving very well? Yeah, it was. It was actually a bit of a breakout move. I think that news on Wednesdays could have some momentum, especially if India talks go well. Okay, so it looks like Bitcoin is trying to turn around now. I never ended up getting that fill.
On which?
I did. I just realized I had a limit order for a much lower price than where it's at right now. Just realized I didn't get a fill. So decided I was going to take that order off the table.
Gotcha.
Don't.
I was going to say, anyone else see anything else interesting? SPY came back into that 596 and bounced, but I don't know that there's a trade there necessarily. I don't see anything else going on here that's really interesting.
Yeah, Zach, that's what I was referring to about the news on Wednesday. That India deal seems like it could be a pretty big deal. So if we do get some trade deal happening with India, that could probably bode really well for ASTS.
That deal is supposed to be almost done, by the way.
Either Will is mad or he's telling us that Gurr is setting up to go again.
He's definitely not mad. Will has been all over it.
Yeah, that's coming right back up to some of these highs we've been making. This $27 resistance area, that's kind of where it has to get through. That's a big resistance level right now for Gurr. NTCL, that China pump's trying to turn around. Don't trust it. Wheeler.
Yeah, I was going to say, that there's nothing going on here with that one. A couple of these penny stocks are moving. I don't know if that doesn't feel great either, though.
No, and I'm really getting into the position of just kind of putting my feet up and letting whatever happens happen. We had some good trades and got some good money out of it. We have the weekend coming up. It's quad witching. Things could still get volatile today. I'm not in the mood for losing any gains I've got. You shouldn't be either. TSM drop. Wheeler wants to run. Does it want to run? Well, I think what it wants to do is not lose VWAP. That's the big takeaway I'm getting from this. But it looks like it could. I think when it wants to run, it looks like it really wants to get over $9. That's been now we're getting the pull here.
Watch CRCL maybe through 230.
I'm going to look at TSM. Is there something going on with TSM? Let me see the news here.
It's down 1.5. Oh, yep.
SoftBank's Masayoshi-san proposes 1 trillion robotics and AI hub in Arizona with TSMC. Really? That's wow, this is really falling.
Here we go. Shout out to Charlie. Taiwan Semiconductor hitting a new low. Wall Street Journal reporting that the Commerce Department is seeking to hold export waivers for Samsung, SK Hynix, and Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM. U.S. is planning to take action against allied chip manufacturers in China. TSM selling off. That's ticker TSM.
Is that let's see what the sector's doing there.
Squawk had that first, by the way.
That's pulling on AMD. That is pulling on Broadcom.
Pulling Google.
And NVIDIA. Though it did pull it. It looks like 144 might be a support area for NVIDIA. No, Jay, it's too significant. I'm just kidding. You're right.
We cannot have stuff tick down 2 points, Jay. We are in buy the dip mode. We're used to having, free money, low interest rates. We cannot watch our portfolios tick down. Otherwise, we're going to have to find a reason to blame it on Trump. Sorry. Couldn't resist that one. Could not resist.
Yeah, so Google, that is losing its 220-day SMAs. Looks like it might be snapping an uptrend. Next area of support is going to be down close to 165.
Wow, seeing some big
what?
Transactions on this move down. AMD 160 call buy, 200 contracts. This is leaps. This is June of next year. Saw a couple more that were interesting here. Google calls getting bought into this move down. Those are the 175s. And then AI calls, almost 16,000 contracts, 26.
The SPY went down and tested the 20-day SMA.
Holding 595 here on the SPY.
Mm-hmm. Right in the consolidation area, too. Like, this is the middle of consolidation that goes back to November of 2024. And there's been consolidation in this area between 194.20 and 195.80 for months.
Whole market is really pulling here.
Mm-hmm. See what the SQQQ is telling us. We might get a setup here in the SQQQ trade. Okay, so 72.46. We're okay. So TQQQ might have a trade set up here.
Okay, I've got the VWAP there at 70. Oh my God, yeah, we're $1.50.
Yeah, so we might have.
Okay,
a setup here.
I don't like this. I'm gonna hold my nose a little bit here and try this. Hang on a sec. God, I hope this doesn't crush me. I'm gonna try some right here.
Yeah, but you can always go small or not at all if you just or
yeah. I went small. I went small here. So if I get absolutely blasted here, it's not really gonna hurt. I'm just trying to be active because we've talked about this. 72.59 the entry on that.
I think you may have got it.
It's early. 74.05 is the VWAP. I'd be happy out at 73.5 just on this.
Maybe at least get some stops in there since you're already up, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm up what, 3 cents?
Oh, you're up 3. Okay, I thought because I was seeing bigger moves. I
72.59. We're at 72.
Oh,
okay, 60. Yeah, okay. It was 72.63. It was 4 cents when I looked at it. Now I'm red, or about to be.
Tesla's pushing hard. Tesla is pushing hard into the downside. I'm thinking 315, 314 filling in a gap. Let's see here.
This actually almost feels like it's grinding lower here, honestly.
I mean, had a good bounce in there.
There was nothing else that.
Oscar's trying to push through. Tesla, yeah. That's what I think that's what Trump says at Tesla.
That's what Rob Smith was famous for saying that. Tesla.
SRM went right down to the 65 EMA and got some support. Oscar, that actually broke out. That broke out of the, I think it was the 20, I don't remember what the exact amount I was that I gave, but I think it was 2250. That's trading higher now. Got some resistance at 22.75. Looks like, I mean, I don't want to, you know, it might
Definitely
be
looked like the entire market moved lower on that chip headline.
Yeah, I don't want to say Lucy is setting up because I'm not liking the way the MACD is looking or the volume, but the formation that it has here on the 5-minute chart looks like it's trying to set up. So let's see if we can continue to hold VWAP. That's going to be the thing for me. If we can continue to hold VWAP, maybe this continues to push higher. If we can't, it's done. Yeah, AIFF.
Oscar continuing to go. I think you just talked about that.
AIFF down to 3. Yes, Oscar. That was breaking out over the 2250 level. So let's see. Where is this? Where does Oscar go? Well, I would think maybe one of these previous highs that we had last year. There's 2379. There's 2340.
Market continuing to pull here.
I'd say let's go with that. 2340, 2380.
Starting to see VIX and short instruments appear on the relative volume scanner.
TQQQ really getting extended.
Yep. My brain right now is saying you should just add a little bit to this. And then the other side of it is like, I don't know what's going on though. But man, just looking at the chart, we get more and more extended here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to add just a little bit more here. Okay.
Yeah, and if you start to go positive, maybe put some stops out so we don't lose it.
That brought my average down 10 cents. 72.49. I don't want to add again if this continues. This is getting smoked.
The market's getting smoked.
There's nothing else that we missed, is there?
We'd have to have...
yeah, I don't think so.
European nations lead push for de-escalation in Israel-Iran war.
That's not new. That's...
No, that was earlier. Well, yeah, that was earlier.
Yeah, this is still really low volume, too. We talked about this at the open here. It might be volatile today on low volume. Kevin, take care of yourself, man. You too, I can't even speak. You too, man. Enjoy your weekend.
QQQ is dual listed on the Hong Kong exchange. Huh. All right. Well,
it is. Are you trolling or is that for real? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what's on the Hong Kong exchange. Smoked is the word of the day. It seems like that.
Yeah, whether it be tuna or this market.
All right, getting a bounce here in TQQQ. And you're right, 13. If I do go green on this, we'll just make sure we don't take a loss, especially since we've added to it now.
Yep. Just want to protect ourselves on.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like a while ago since we've made this successful trade. There's been a number of stuff that's been blasting us since then. 8 minutes here. Remember, reminder, there is no Anne-Marie today. She's busy today. We are going to have Simply Trading, though, with Paulo today, I believe. Yeah, Levy, I saw this earlier. I don't. If anyone else has information on this, let's help Levy out here. What do you think about Docu? That's DocuSign, ticker DOCU, going down further because people are replicating their services using AI for next to nothing. You had said earlier, I'm sorry I didn't highlight the comment. I did throw DocuSign on the list. You had said earlier that someone basically created what DocuSign does and then gave it away for free. I have not followed this at all. I haven't read anything about this. It's not to say that it's wrong. It's just I haven't looked into it at all. So I don't really know. I would imagine if what you're saying is true, if someone is able to just replicate what they do and give it away for free, that's a net negative for DocuSign. But I didn't follow that at all.
Yeah, I've been bearish on DocuSign ever since 2021.
Yeah, that was the metaverse angle, right?
That was exactly. That was because I feel like I made the whole case about how there could be more of a virtual space that people conduct business in. DocuSign it does have its uses, but it to me it seems like it's mostly a one-trick pony. I get that they have other stuff too, but yes, it's essentially a signing product. It's I guess that's why I'm kind of view it as like a one-trick pony. It doesn't do really anything beyond that.
Well, ET3 is saying DocuSign does more than electronic signatures.
Yeah, what else?
Isn't part of Docu some kind of certification that the signature is authentic?
So it's still signing.
Well, signing and authentication, let's be fair.
Yes, but it still has to do with signatures. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Take care, Judge.
Take care of yourself, Judge. Great to see you again, as always. Market is not bouncing.
Wow, we are. I mean, there's been some bounces. They've just been very short. This thing at the bottom of that consolidation channel now. Next area of support that I've got is going to be a trend line that should see support around 593. And if not, there's a previous all-time high of 591.93.
So, Levy, I would imagine if their business is easy to replicate, probably not safe, but I don't necessarily have a specific thought on this. Yassine, go ahead, man. You don't need me for that. I took a stab at something. I did it small. It's been a massive disappointment. Follow your own risk. If you can't handle it, just get out of it. Don't ever hold anything just because I talked to somebody and I talked about it. It's this stock's completely sick. It is sold off every day except for 2 since the IPO. So
I appreciate the information at ET3 that AI tools for corporate legal teams. That seems like that could be useful. But who would be their competitor on that segment? Because I think that's not something exclusive to DocuSign, but really helpful for their space since they deal with signatures. Smoke Tuna saying Lucy. Watch a 5-minute MACD to go back to green.
It's still holding up here.
Look at Oscar. This thing is really trying to get over that at the 2250. Well, it's over 2250 right now, but it's trying to go higher. Take care, Will. Or you're welcome, Will. I don't know if you're leaving, but you're welcome. Friday, season of the witch.
Sean, when you did TQQQ, I did SQQQ, and I'm stoked. What's your exit plan on that, buddy? Where are you selling it? Where are you booking the gains? I'm down 19 cents on my position.
Galt
is that doing anything finally?
No, it's down to 2.
What a massive pullback. Glad nobody chased that one.
Yeah. Wheeler went down to the 65 EMA. That's trying to turn around. This is getting volatile. And also it's because the spread's anywhere from 10 to 20 cents. TQQQ, that is really starting to come back.
Could use it.
Did you make a chart on Clover? It's CLOV, right? Yeah, this one had a good run last year. Now it looks like it's coming back down. That one death crossed back in May. I'm not sure that I like Clover at this stage. But I'll tell you what, 280, I think that's the level to watch for. That seems to be the big support area. If you lose that, might see close to $2 again.
Redwire bouncing back here after a move down. This only down 1% now. Take care of yourself, ET3. Enjoy your weekend.
I think it's MITQ, right? Yeah, MITQ. Let me see here. Yeah, that's popping $9 million contract with National Cinema Exhibition customer regarding the sale and installation of 150 barcode laser projections, along with a range of MIT manufactured equipment. Okay, not sure what to make out of that, but this thing's running. $9 million.
Penny stock. Okay, 13. It's that time. It's weekend time. Any closing words for the group here?
Oh, well, you know what? Been a fun week. We got a day off. Let's have some more days off. We'll be back here on Monday. We'll trade some more. It'll be a good time. Hopefully the market doesn't absolutely crater in the meantime. But if it does, we'll come back here on Monday and we'll figure out some trades and we'll trade that and we'll make some money. Take care. Have a good weekend, everybody. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you, 13. It was a fun, truncated week here. But like you said, we will be back next week to see what's going on. Thank you, 13, for everything here this week. 13 leaves room for Paulo. Paulo, happy Friday. How you doing, my man?
Hey, Ryan. Happy Friday. How are you? Here, nice holiday. Look in the markets.
Look, I'm doing good, my man. What do you got coming up for us?
Well, we got some very important charts now that we would be following from the last week and some potential bearish reversal on many important big names in the market. So let's see what the market is preparing for the upcoming weeks. Looks like some bearish reversals.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. Paulo, take it away. Options Trading Simple starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Hello, everyone. There it is. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thanks to the Benzinga team for having us here on Options Made Simple every Friday with some automated trades as well as some technical analysis and market forecasting. Let's jump straight into the charts as we are seeing a very, very negative reaction today on options expiration day and some important bearish reversals on many of the most important tickers in the market, right? So last week, last Friday, we were live and we were noticing some bullish breakouts, but also some bearish breakdowns. So let's do a follow-up here on this chart and let's see what we have, which is currently looking very critical. So we're going to start here with SPY on the 4 hours chart. And what do we have is what could be a potential double top reversal. But first, let's give it some context. So when we zoom out last Friday, we noticed that SPY was breaking down on its ascending wedge pattern here, the rising wedge, which started on that liquidation, I'm sorry, on that liberation day. I personally called it liquidation day, as the market actually reached a bear market during the pre-market. Right then on regular trading hours, we were able to reverse and form here this bottom. And we broke below on that rising wedge pattern, right? So once we broke below it, then there was also this bearish divergence. The bearish divergence on SPY was right here on this higher high in price action, this higher high compared to this peak here, but it was actually a lower high on the RSI. So that was the initial bearish indication that we might be ready for the pullback. Then we actually had a retest from that broken down structure into a lower low. Once again, a retest of resistance. All these were lower highs. We can zoom in here. We formed this pennant, or also called a triangle pattern. We yet again rejected after FOMC, after yesterday's holiday. And what we're noticing here is this Is it already? Well, currently in this precisely minute and second, it is a double top reversal on SPY. Well, conservatives would like to say, hey, first we need to wait for the candlestick closure. And yes, that's true. The bears would need to close the 4-hour candlestick below 594. If we close this candlestick in 1 hour below 594, that would be a double top reversal here on SPY. We can see the first rejection, we can see the neckline at 594, we can see the second rejection, and now we're actually breaking below that level. This is a double top. This is a double top reversal on SPY. That is not the only bearish signal, of course. It's a big wedge breakdown, right? So that is giving us room lower. We also got more bearish continuation on the RSI. The RSI is hitting here a lower low, which is indicating us that this move is still building momentum as the RSI measures the previous gains against the previous losses, and it kind of averages them, and the indicator might go higher or lower if the average is positive or negative. So RSI here reaching a new lows is telling us that the average move from all these past moves here is still building momentum, and I would be looking at lower downside targets just for doing the math. What I would like to see is which would be the target just according to the double top. So the double top here would go from, that's a 1.73, a 10-point drop on SPY and 1.73%. So a 10-point drop for SPY from 594 neckline breakdown should bring us to 584. So this would be my target here, according to the double top, right? Many patterns can work along. So maybe if a reversal pattern appears elsewhere in the market, then this double top reversal, the price target might get invalidated. But according specifically to this pattern, the current price target, downside price target for SPY would be 584. I would be looking at downside continuation would be here. Also, this previous support we had on June. So that is what we have here on SPY. Still, of course, remember we are assuming we close the 4-hour candlestick below 594. Now the bulls are trying to step in here and bouncing. So let's see where we close this candlestick. Open at 8 a.m. It's going to close at 12 Eastern. So we got 54 minutes. And let's see if the bulls are able to close above 594, which would yet still be bearish because we are losing here the biggest dark pool. It's also a lower low. This continues to be a downtrend since Wednesday, June 11. Here, lower low, lower high, lower low again. And the bears, of course, will try to close this 4-hour candlestick below 594. Now let's go here with the DIA. And also, if any of the attendants would like to request any ticker, any chart you would like to see, just type it there in the chat room. I can see it. So we can also do some requests for any stock, any setup you're looking to trade. Maybe you're holding a trade, you would like to know where to exit, or you're holding a profitable trade, you would like to know where could be a good place to maybe take some profits. Just type the ticker and we can check those setups as well. Absolutely. So for the DIA as well, it's looking more bearish because we lost here support from the Liberation Day crash we had. It was also a rising wedge pattern, the blue structure. Now we're forming here a descending wedge pattern. I see ANET requested. Of course, we're going with that one, absolutely. Here, the descending wedge pattern is our secondary pattern, right? And this support would be located at 424.19. Breaking below 424.19 would be a bearish continuation, signal for a deeper pullback for the DIA. I wouldn't call this a double top reversal here. Even though there is kind of bit, I do think this is more a wedge breakdown. NVIDIA and Broadcom HIMS as well. Yes, of course, we're going to check those. Absolutely. For the Qs, we also have a bearish setup. And the Qs is not yet a double top breakdown, but I mean, look at this candlestick here. Look at this 4-hour candlestick on this retest of rejection. So first, let me show you the pattern. The pattern is also, we had already broken below our wedge pattern as well. I already deleted that one as now I have new patterns. It's always important to keep our charts updated, to delete actually, to delete certain patterns when they have already been outdated and include the latest one. So we can always remain updated in the market, right? So we have here the symmetric, well, not sure if symmetrical triangle, I would call it just triangle, and also known as pennant pattern. We rejected resistance, right? Yet again on a higher low, and that's why got volume. There's multiple ways of viewing volume. Interpreting the candlesticks is one, right? Besides from volume indicators. And this 4-hour bearish reversal is letting us know there is a lot of volume on this rejection. We're also now below the biggest dark pool. All my dark pool data comes from Traditics. On our server, you can find more information about us at tradingmadesimple.org. We focus a lot on automated trades. I'm also in charge of daily live trading sessions every day from 9:15 to 10:15 in the morning. Thankfully, today we were able to catch some of these puts. So my dark pool levels comes from the Traditics bot, which you can also access through our Discord server, right? We are below the biggest dark pool located at 529. We are also seeing this dark pool range forming here, which might be an early indication of maybe institutional money actually selling here. So the double top for QQQ is not yet confirmed, but 524 breaking below that level would be bearish. Now, if you're looking for a potential trade setup later in the day on the Qs, I would be shorting the retest of 528. So we already broke down on this pennant pattern. The next step could be retesting 528 as resistance under the polarity concept in the market. The polarity concept is when you break lower than a certain support level, it turns into resistance. When you break above a certain resistance level, it turns into support for longs. We have currently broken below the pennant pattern. So this is a bearish bias initially. We would be noticing this bearish reversal. While we remain below 527, 528, that would be my short setup here for today, right? And if we break below 524, then that's a much deeper pullback. This would be 10-point build up on this potential double top. So a 10-point breakdown would bring us to 514. We would be going somewhere here as well. All right, so what also I would like to review some of the XIII bearish reversals we mentioned last Friday, and then we go with the tickers. So I see a lot of requests. I do think we can do a couple more. So any ticker you would like to see, just type it there. We're checking some XIII and we go straight into those setups. So Microsoft, okay. Strongest XIII, only XIII on new all-time highs, correct me if I'm wrong, this year, right? After the Liberation Day. We got a rising wedge pattern, but there's also this bearish divergence. Now, what I don't like is this big, strong reversal candlestick. Well, now it's still green, but, check here the weak, long shadow. Tiny, buddy. 4-hour candlestick now red. So if we actually break lower than today's pre-market low, that would be support on the wedge at 477. Then I would be looking here for a pullback for Microsoft. But the ones that are my favorite short setups, I'm personally shorting Amazon. I also like Meta. What do we see here for Amazon? We also discussed this setup last Friday. We got a wedge pattern breakdown. So many of these charts on the 4 hours looks like finally that pullback is coming. For Amazon, we have here a bearish breakdown. And what was the indication that we were having this bearish breakdown and not a bullish breakout? The bearish divergence on the RSI. And this one is critical. We can see here this peak, right? On May 13, 2025 at 215. Higher high at 220. But yet again, the bearish divergence on the RSI. That is a reason why I like those divergences on the RSI, also bullish divergences as well. I talk a lot about these divergences on the RSI. You might think, wow, everything is a bearish divergence. Well, not always. There's many bullish divergences as well, but in the past 2 weeks, these bearish divergences have been forming. So I do think that is a buildup for at least a pullback, right? Which is what we're currently seeing. So there's 3 bearish things on this chart for Amazon, which is indicating me I am holding personally my Amazon puts into next week. So it's here a rising wedge pattern. We broke below it. There's 4 things, I'm sorry. We rejected on the reaches of resistance under the polarity concept. Once again, second bearish signal. Third bearish signal, potential double top starting to form if we actually break lower than 208. I'm sorry, there's 5 bearish signals. Again, here, the bearish divergence would be the 4th, and the 5th and final bearish signal would be the dark pole. This dark pole activity range that has formed in between 213 to 217, we're seeing a strong rejection from this resistance range, despite we were kind of breaking above it. Dark pole level doesn't necessarily have to work like that millimetrical, but this activity, this rejection, after we have spotted this activity forming, that's telling me this stock is ready for an important pullback. So breaking below 208 would signal that double top reversal. From the formation to the neckline, that's 10 points. So from 208, target would be 198. That would be this previous low here. I think we could be hitting here. So if we actually break, if we actually break this double top here, that would look like that. Still, there's a bit more room to go. One of my other favorite setups is Meta. I'm not shorting Meta here. You can't be in all the trades. I already got some shorts, but this is the same chart as Amazon. It's a wedge breakdown with a bearish divergence as well. There is the bearish divergence. There's the potential double top. There's the dark pole confirmation range. And the double top would be if we break lower than 680, that would be a 20-point buildup, 25-point buildup for this double top. That would be from 680. That would bring us to 655, and that would be located somewhere here. So it looks like at least we would be retesting these previous highs as a potential support level. So many stocks looking bearish like that, some not. We got AMD. AMD is still a bullish breakout against everything. Looking very nice there. And now let's go with the request. So let me go here for the first, and the first is going to be ANET. Let me start on the weekly chart, and we might go into the 4 hours if we notice something else. So let me see what was my latest update for ANET. What did I have? Looks like I didn't have anything but my 200 moving average. So for ANET here, all right, this one is a bit hard. Let me see. All right, first, there seems to be this support. Yes, I would say that would be a support trend line going on. It has 3 years of validation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 validations. Looks valid. Then I would have the 200 moving average. Okay. So this one is going to be a bit simple. No resistance we can draw on a descending trend line. We do got this resistance here as well. Let me give it the color. So what I would be looking here, this is kind of range, consolidation range here, which actually goes here. Yep, that's what I would be looking at. So on ANET, it kind of seems that the stock already made a bottom. Okay, that doesn't mean we cannot retest important lows. But one of the reasons I do think this stock might have already made a bottom is that we bounce from this support trend line, and the RSI on the weekly looks very, very, very bearish. I'm sorry, this RSI hit the weekly oversold condition. So I would understand this might have already been a double top, a bottom here. Now, maybe a bit of consolidation and catching it at the 200 moving average, maybe if it's able to catch up somewhere here, could be a good entry. So I would be looking at this horizontal range for ANET, which goes from 85 to 100. If we break lower than 85, I would be looking for a reaches of support. Then I would be drawing maybe a Fibonacci retracement tool. I might be looking at the 0.3. Oh, well, this is the 0.3. Then I would be looking at the 0.6, 0.7 range, which would be here. It's basically the same level. So now I proceed to delete it, as I like to keep my charts the same. We already know it's the same level. So if we break 85, I would be looking somewhere around 65 to 70 for ANET. If we break above 100, I would be looking bullish continuation. I wouldn't have a clear resistance besides previous all-time highs. If you want me to be honest, I don't find anything here that would be worth seriously. In between the 85 to 100 range, I will remain neutral. We could still trade in range until either we have the bearish breakdown or the bullish breakout. So confirmation for ANET would be 85 to 100, and it would be a break on that either direction type of trend. Next one, HIMS. I don't think I have that one charted. Maybe yes. Let's see. No, I don't. But of course, let's check it. All right, looks like there was this support trend line. Even though here, this one got a bit invalidated, I do think maybe I would show some tolerance against this breakdown, not sure. I mean, it's a breach here, but we're also catching the others. Let me see if I zoom out. No, I won't do that. Let me bring this one here. Yeah, that would be, looks a bit more valid. We didn't retested it, but it looks more valid than the other. What I see here is a horizontal resistance, and basically we're there. We can, if we actually, one second, if we actually draw this lower one, it's the same one. So yes, this setup here would be either a buy on a break above this certain resistance or a potential rejection here. So resistance would be located at 65. Let me see it. Yep, 65 to 67. If we break lower, higher than 65, 67, that would be a bullish breakout in the chart. That would be signaling bullish continuation. However, potential rejection here. Let me see if I go into the daily, do I see any? On the daily, there could be a head and shoulders. That's something that should be signaled. Left shoulder, neckline, head, second neckline, right shoulder here. Let me draw it. That could be the possibility. So for that one, we would know it goes like this. All right, so it's also a range here for him and hers. If we actually break lower here, higher, I'm sorry, and we invalidate a potential head and shoulders reversal, breaking higher than 67, 68, yes, 67, 68, that would invalidate, and this would be a bullish breakout. However, if we break lower than 52, that would be a head and shoulders reversal. That would look bearish. Then I might be looking at the 200 moving average, but on the daily, and you know, on the daily, it looks good. On the daily, the 200 moving average does look good here. We can see the stock has been bouncing from this level in the past. So I think it could be taken as a support zone. If we break lower here, I would be looking at a 200 moving average on the daily, right? So confirmation for him and hers would be a range from 50 to 67. Breaking either direction would be the next trade setup. Let's see. Now we have NVIDIA and Broadcom. I have those ones charted. Let's go here with NVIDIA. Well, NVIDIA first, let me show it to you on the 4 hours. And looks like we're having, well, not yet. Now we're retesting the breakdown. But we do got a bearish divergence on the 4 hours on higher highs against lower highs. All right. And now we're breaking down on this wedge pattern. In this precisely minute and second, we're holding, but we already broke below it. So I do think this is the retest of this level now working as resistance. And a potential rejection here of 143 could take us to biggest dark pull at 141. Breaking below this level would signal more pullback. Let me see it on the weekly. How does this view on the weekly? On the weekly, it's a bullish breakout. So what this is telling me is macro is not bearish. Bears would try to argue a head and shoulders here, but I don't think that's an argument to bring to the table yet. What kind of looks like is that we could have a retest of our support, macro support, and then maybe we could continue. Looks like we could have a move like this. And why is it that we take that conclusion? Because the macro is looking bullish. So the trend is still bullish for the stock. Still, we do have what seems that might be a potential bearish reversal on the 4 hour. So this pattern is a bit more smaller than the weekly one. So if we actually break down here, I would be looking for that reaches of support. So for NVIDIA, initially this would be a buy at 130. And on the 4 hours, where is 130? 130 is here, the biggest dark pull. We could have that reaches of the lower support for NVIDIA that could bring us here to retest our previous macro breakout for the stock. Also requested Broadcom here, AVGO. And this one is tricky. All right, so the stock was able to make a new all-time high, but now we are rejecting from previous all-time highs. Still, I mean, we made it on the intraday, but we have not been able to close above that level. Right, so bears could try to maybe argue a double top, but I don't think a double top, for that we would have to break lower than 140. It's still a macro bullish breakout. I would say this chart remains valid into today's session and into the next week. It's a range. So breaking above 255 and closing, that would be a bullish breakout for Broadcom. Bulls need to hold 238 support. Holding 238, we could retest our previous breakout and break higher. Bears want to invalidate this breakout, and turn it into a fake out by reaching Broadcom price below 240. Breaking below 240 would be bearish. There's also the bearish divergence, okay? There's also the bearish divergence on the weekly. This is higher highs against lower highs. Yep, higher highs here against a lower highs on the RSI. So I would be a bit skeptical of this move, but yep, price action is more important. Let me see which ones else we have. We have APDL. I don't have that one charted, but I think we can close with that one. APLD, yes. And it would be this one, Applied Digital Corporation by NASDAQ, right? Let's load it on the weekly. Looks like a double top breakdown. Accumulation range. This could be an accumulation pattern. How I'd like to confirm this accumulation patterns would be on the monthly. Oh, no. I'm sorry. No accumulation here. And I don't understand what happened here. I don't know this company, so I'm only looking at the chart. but I don't understand what's going here. What happened here? I think I've never seen a chart like that. Wow, these prices are history. What's going on this stock? We're going to its historical resistance trend line. Still, my disclaimer is I wouldn't know if I can trust this chart because of this. I haven't seen something like this, honestly, so I don't know how to interpret this. But still, forgetting this, let's maybe focus on this, okay? There's this historical resistance trend line, and now let's zoom in here. This one would be starting kind of here. I think I'll put it here on the weekly. There's an update. Okay, so what the bulls would like to do on this stock is this potential double bottom breakout. We got it right here. Well, not anymore, almost. At I, it looked like it. This was a potential accumulation range, stage 1, week of accumulation. We were breaking above the neckline here. This would be the first bottom, second bottom. Neckline for the double bottom would be located at 12. Breaking above that level, then holding would be the double top, but that is not the case. Now we're breaking lower than that. When we do have this big count volume here, that's something I would like to see how it develops in the upcoming weeks for the stock. Well, if we would be able to close today above a 11.80, we would save the double bottom breakout, but I wouldn't be sure if that's going to happen. So yes, 12 here would be the level I would be looking at. Still looks like this chart is a bit too dirty. If we close the week like that, would look a bit dirty here. So I understand we're running out of time as it's already 11:30. Let me ask here the guys. Yes, and we have run out of time. So for a quickly recap, just 1 minute. Since we are having these potential bearish reversals on the 4 hours, still not the double top. We remember the short we made. We told about for the Qs. Right when we started, we mentioned the next move would be retesting the broken down pennant, right at 528, and there we are. We're retesting the broken down pennant. There could be a short setup here. Let's see if the market wants to give us a potential short setup into the closing bell. We would have to reject here. Let me see this on the 4 hours. Same for SPY. We're right there on the pennant. Let me see these guys. All right, so what I wanted to show here is the S&P 500, just 1 minute. And this is what I would be looking. On my more macro model here for the S&P 500, I do think this is a wave 1, all right? And the wave 1 has already completed, potentially. Let's actually count the intraday waves. Wave 1, wave 2 correction, wave 3, wave 4 correction, wave 5. So this is already a 5-wave completed minor count on what could be the first Elliott wave, wave 1, to reach that potential banner cycle sell signal at 2026. So since this looks like wave 5 could have been completed, this would, if we are going into a pullback, let's say we actually close lower. Let's say we actually close lower. We confirm that double top breaking below 594. This would be my 2 potential price targets for a potential pullback. And here is where I would be looking to buy the dip. My first retracement zone would be the 0.2 to 0.3 Fibonacci retracement, typical Elliott wave correction. Usually corrective waves either retrace this range, the 0.3 to 0.2, or the 0.6 to 0.7. So that would bring us a potential price target, macro price target, right? Different from the ones we saw in the 4 hours, from 5,600 to 5,750. This would be price target range number 1 for the small pullback, and then we could maybe be continuing. Then price target number 2, that would be a bit more bloody. That would be the 0.7 to 0.6 Fibonacci retracement, and I wouldn't rule it out. So if we actually break lower than 5,600, I would be looking at 5,300 maybe. Even 5,100, that would almost be back here. I mean, to discuss this possibility first, we will have to break lower than 0.3. So from a macro perspective, if the market is starting a pullback, I would be looking at 0.38. So that will be all for today. I would like to thank you everyone for your participation, your attendance. As always, I would like to thank the Benzinga team for inviting us here Fridays, me, Sandra, and the rest of the team, to share some potential setups. If you want to learn more about us, you can learn more about us on our website, tradingmadesimple.org. We focus on automated trades based on real market data, right? I'm also in charge of live trading sessions every day from 9:15 to 10:15 Eastern time frame. So looking forward to take some trades together. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week and see you next week. Goodbye, everyone.